Okay, y'all, 2 days in a row. No, that's not common around these parts. But everybody is talking about this Sam Sedar on PBD beating. Of course, if you're on the left, you probably feel like Sam Sedar won. People on the right probably acting like he's a full-blown idiot and PBD and them schooled him. But from the shit I saw, I highly disagree that I think it's hard to defend PBD in this shit because some of the shit I saw is like, you niggas is full blown idiot. Oh, TJ, what's up, bro? I didn't realize you was the same TJ from Wise. I didn't know. I was like, I thought it, but I didn't know that for certain. Appreciate you for hitting the Discord, bro. Yeah. So this is a long one, but you know, I'm dedicating at least most of this stream, if not all of it, to the interview because I do want to watch it entirely, and there's some good pieces in here that I want to definitely, you know, get my thoughts out with y'all. So We ain't gonna take too much time, bro. Let's get to it.
Okay, so episode 570. We have a very rich man here today, Sam Sedar. He's a guy that loves rich people. He just, anybody that's a billionaire, his favorite people. Absolute big fan. And he's going to tell us why today. We've had him on before. I always respect anybody that is willing to come on, that may have opposing ideas,
Marvel
to sit down and have a conversation. Sam, it's great to have you back on here again.
It's a pleasure to be here. I just want to say that some of my best friends are rich people.
I believe you. I believe that you have a lot of rich friends.
Well,
Trust me, I believe it. Now, the question is, you want him to get taxed 90%.
I'm not a big Superman
but,
fan.
We'll have that conversation as well.
I'll check it out.
A lot of stories.
Top marginal rate of 90%.
Right, but you're rich too, Sam. Let's not.
Oh no, I am rich as well.
Rich too. Yeah, I know. You're rich too. Okay. We got a lot of stories to talk about. Sam is obviously a diehard fan of Elon Musk. He wants to give some more praise to him today. We'll talk a little bit about him. We'll talk about terrorists with Liberation Day. One of the stories, CNBC host hits Trump with insult. He'll hate amid tanking stock market. We'll talk about that story. Frustration grows with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick ahead of Trump's tariff announcement. Loose cannon with half-baked ideas. Another story about private companies added 155,000 jobs in March, more than expected, ADP says. Hooters, bankruptcy, devastating for a lot of people. $376 million debt and restructuring. Charlie Javis must wear an ankle monitor despite her budding Pilates career, judge rules. Gen Z is facing a career apocalypse. Stephen A. Smith drops mountain of receipts on MSNBC writer who called his MAGA mouthpiece. We'll play that clip. ESPN's Monica McNutt claims Caitlin Clark is popular because she's a white girl from middle America.
I'm sorry, I missed. Why is he? Oh, topics coming up. They're touching. I'm like, what the hell is he
Stock deal's getting very interesting. We don't know whether Amazon's going to buy it, whether Andreessen Horowitz going to buy it, whether they're both going to be involved. There's a lot of interesting people saying they're going to buy it. So eventually one person will. Who that is, we don't know. There's a couple stories here with Vanguard. Sam Sedar gets real about Anna Kasparian, and Cenk Uygur spills the tea on the Young Turks. I think that may be an older story, but we'll cover it anyway since it's been a couple years. Elon Musk to the 5 on Tesla attacks. We know who is behind it, and we are coming for them. Obama was working against Kamala Harris behind the scenes. Didn't think she could win, new book reveals. Nevada school schools ban trans athletes from girls sports in major reversal from state. We'll cover that part, and then we got a couple other stories here. Democrats' approval rating remains low point. Unhinged Jasmine Crockett roasts herself by admitting she is a DEI hire. Which story is that? Sky News. Trump administration freezes funding to Maine for letting trans athletes in girls sports. Massive layoffs hitting health agencies that track disease and regular food. Female fencer takes a knee, forfeits in protest of transgender opponents. Texas high school football star. This is a devastating story. Austin Metcalf stabbed in the heart, left to die in twins' brother arm at track meet. And the dad react. This is going to be a tough one to watch, folks, when we go through it.
Yeah.
We're talking about it right before the podcast. Elon Musk's 24 hours, a Wisconsin Supreme Court loss, Tesla's sales plunge, and reports he may soon lead role in Trump's White House. Yahoo News will cover that story. And then Nashville police, in final report, downplay Covenant shooters' transgender identity, hatred of Christianity. That's a Daily Wire story, and we got a few other things I will cover as well. Before we get into the podcast, guys.
Wait, what's the Daily Wire?
There's transgender identity, hatred of Christianity. That's a Daily Wire story, and we got a few other things.
I find it funny how he talking about like Hooters going out of business and shit like that, but he doesn't address the fact that Daily Wire is going under too. That's interesting.
Well. Before we get into the podcast, guys,
I want to talk about that. The Daily
we
Wire,
want a million people to support The Future Looks Bright here. We are getting very close to it. We got something unique that came in. Just so you guys know, I only wear the Valuetainment wallet. This is all I have.
Yeah, I don't think they touch on every single one of those. Like, I don't, especially I'm looking at the timestamps. They don't get on all those topics. That was too much.
I think Adam's the same as well. But we got these new wallets, okay, that are RFID protected wallets to have with different Future Looks Bright. So let's get right into it. Sam, question for you. From the last time you were here, I think it was 2 years ago, that it was, give or take 2 years ago. at the time, it was probably a terrible season for Trump, I think we can say. Trump wasn't having a lot of victories. Trump was at a very low. Republicans were not convinced that he could go. Republicans were thinking it's probably going to be DeSantis or it's going to be somebody else. There was a bit of a split in the Republican Party and the MAGA. Like, I don't know. Even when he opened up his announcement that he's running at Mar-a-Lago, there was not a lot of people there. People saying, I don't even know, this person wasn't there, that person wasn't there, this person wasn't there. And then you get these CNN polls. Rob, if you can pull up the CNN video showing where the Democratic Party is at today, play this clip, and I want to ask you, Sam, what happened to the Democratic Party? Go for it.
Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove, 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how Democratic voters feel. Get this. The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh, my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
And this is the number right here really driving all of this. As Democrats have turned, if Democratic voters...
it's been worse for me, too, personally. Like, I'm not a Democrat, but, of course, I align more with their policies. But the fucking... They just been looking weak as fuck since Trump been running amok. So it's like, how can you even want to support them at this point? Because they've been looking like some fucking deer in headlights with everything Trump is doing. Cory Booker did his little speech and shit, which is cool. But you know, like when they was at the fucking state, when they addressed Congress and y'all in here with these fucking auction paddles, like, make some noise and leave. Y'all left the fucking congressman hanging by himself and shit. And just fucking leave, raise hell, and make a scene so there's no Democrats in there. That would have took all the headlines away from whatever the fuck Trump was saying. And y'all in here with some fucking paddles and shit. Like, it's not, you don't want to support what the fuck they're doing right now.
Have turned on Democrats in Congress and the Democratic Party. That's what puts the numbers at historic lows. What is it they want to be seeing, these voters?
What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. They don't like what's coming out of some of those Senate Democrats like Chuck Schumer, because take a look at the direction of the party. Democratic voters on Democrats in Congress doing too little to oppose Donald Trump. Look at this.
They're doing too little. That's why people don't want to rock with them.
7%. Should stay principled, even if it means nothing gets done in Washington, D.C. 65%. And this 65% is such a difference from where we were in 2017 at this point, when just 33% of Democrats say this should stay principled, compared to 59% who said they want to compromise. Democrats do not want compromise at this point. They want a fighter. They want to go into the ring like Muhammad Ali did against Sonny Liston. Wow. They want to take down the Republicans. They do not want this compromise anymore. They want to be more like Republicans, get up to that stage and fight. And right now they feel like their leaders in Congress are simply doing so. And that is why their approval rating for congressional Democrats is at all-time low, even among Democrats.
Rob, if you want to pause that. Sam, what happened? What happened to the Democratic Party?
Well, I should start by saying I always thought that Trump would be the nominee. And 2 years ago, I was wondering why Ron DeSantis was lighting his career on fire by trying to run against Donald Trump, to be honest with you. I think, Trump and the Republican Party, I think they're one and the same. And so that doesn't surprise me. Those numbers are some of the most encouraging numbers I've seen in the 20
And we can understand why those numbers are.
Odd years I've been doing this, because I want to see it communicated to Democratic leadership that we want you to fight. And I've been riding Chuck Schumer for, 10 years, trying to get him. I mean, Harry Reid was a great, I think, as far as they go, leader of the Senate for Democrats. But I think it's time for new leadership in the Democratic Party. We need and this is not even ideological from my perspective. I think there are Democrats that I agree with and Democrats that I disagree with on an ideological standpoint. But I think a different generation of Democrats understand that the Republican Party is in transit. There is no negotiating with them. I think the biggest mistake that Joe Biden made was following the American Rescue Act, which was a massive boon to the American public. We cut child poverty by 45% in a year. I just want to repeat that. We cut child poverty by 45% in a year.
I mean, I think, Pastor Joint, I think at this point, the recession is inevitable. At this point, it's inevitable.
Yeah, because of that,
Especially
act,
with what China
when Biden
just did.
first got in. And you know what Republicans were talking about after we passed bills that cut child poverty in a year,
Trans
that extended
kids.
unemployment benefits, that provided food stamps, that provided health insurance. Republicans were talking about 2 books that the Dr. Seuss publisher decided not to publish.
I remember that shit.
And so, in my mind, the Republican Party there is completely bankrupt of ideas. And Joe Biden, instead of pushing through Build Back Better over that summer, he opened the door for the Republicans to give a proposal. That went nowhere for 3 months. Then he opened the door for Kristen Sinema and Rob Portman to come in and give a proposal. And that ultimately, I think, is when Democratic voters started getting impatient with Biden, because we were thinking $5 trillion, $4 trillion. Joe Manchin was saying $6 trillion Build Back Better bill. And we never got anything like that. It ended up getting split into the IRA, which was a good bill, but I think insufficient. And then infrastructure stuff, also important, but insufficient.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're seeing is frustration from
TJ,
Democratic voters
I
who are
can see
saying,
that.
A, you're
definitely
not
viable.
fighting. B, you're allowing the Republicans too much
Let me ask you this.
opportunity.
Do you
And
think-
C, we need more government intervention.
Do you think
Before he respond, I had a theory. It's real comic booky, and I'm half serious and half joking when I say, though. I think that Trump has a plot in his brain to where on his deathbed he's gonna tell everybody, like, all these years I've thought I've had this plan that I could get the whole American country to buy into my bullshit. I can lie in front of you. I can insult people. I can be a nasty person. I can commit crimes and get away with it. And I will have the support of these people to where I can be president. And everybody fell for it. I tanked the economy and people still made excuses. And everyone fell for it. And he's going to Thanos snap his way out of here. And maybe he'll take all of MAGA with him, I hope. Like, this is some the leader and Thanos type planning. Like, I just, the way that MAGA's, there's some people that I thought wouldn't back down that are actually like challenging Trump now, like Ben Shapiro and shit, and even Piers is kind of criticizing him. But it's some people that's just not letting go. The Cheetos is too good.
think it's more that they're not fighting, or do you think that their policies are simply bad policies and they're not landing?
No, I think it's
No,
that
what the
they're not
fuck?
fighting.
Hey, Sam really gave a whole spiel that makes sense. It's like, how are you talking about the Democrats' policies when we're not in power? The Democrats aren't in power, so why are you saying, is it not bad policy? No, nobody gave a fuck about policy in this election. People did not vote on policy because objectively Trump's plan was going to do what it's doing right now. So no, nobody cared about policy. People are upset with Democrats because Kamala ran the best campaign she could, but it wasn't a good campaign on its own. But she did what she could. She fucking lost. And now Trump is running amok and Dems is being weak as fuck and still playing by these old playbook games where clearly all bets are off at this point. Trump is defying court orders. He's doing all type of shit. Yes, Congress can't do anything because we don't have a majority, but nonetheless, they're too quiet and timid about the shit.
What are the policies?
So tell me what policies are, like right now, the Democratic Party. Who is the face of the Democratic Party?
No,
and
he
what-
didn't see you. The PBD got away from his original question because he noticed Sam was going to give him policies that are pretty much favorable to most Americans. Now he's talking about give me a person. Why the fuck Kamala policies was mostly favorable to people when they did polls and they didn't tell you who was doing what and they just said the policy. Kamala's was like 90% favorable or some shit like that.
What are the top 3 things you guys stand for?
Well, I don't think there is a face of the Democratic Party at the
Exactly.
moment. I mean,
Don't
Chuck
ask for a
Schumer
face.
is nominally the highest elected Democratic official that's out there.
That's not a good sign for you guys.
100%. I agree. I call for him to resign every day. I don't know that there is a single. I don't think the Democratic Party has coalesced around an agenda. We're having a. There's a fight within the Democratic Party.
Well, what do you like? Do you have someone you like that you would want to see, or do you want to see the capitalistic, competitive philosophy of somebody just comes out and let's see who it is? Because if there is, even you right now, Sam,
capitalistic. I don't understand
what I mean by capitalistic, like competitive. Let's just see who comes out
competition.
Of the competition.
Predates
what I'm
capitalism.
Saying. Yeah,
But,
so that's good. The competition is a good thing.
I mean,
right?
I think, obviously there's going to be a competition.
Is there anyone you like?
Well, I think there are policies that I like that are expressed by like Sanders and AOC on their tour, their anti-oligarchy tour. I mean, obviously, I think there are other, policies that are floating around that I don't know that they're necessarily embodied in politicians yet. People are looking. There's a lot of stuff that Tim Walz did in Minnesota that I think is great.
Putting the tampons in the bathroom, that was my favorite.
Oh my God! These people. Listen, do you see this is exactly what Sam is talking about. While policies are getting passed, y'all was like, get rid of these Dr. Seuss books. It's like, what the fuck? Putting tampons in bro. Who the fuck is getting hurt over tampons in bathrooms? Who the fuck cares?
Bathroom. That was probably one of the best ones. Putting that because that's
you see, but notice what he gives a fuck about. The main thing I know Tim Walz for is getting free lunch for kids in school, and they're talking about tampons in bathrooms. Fuck the fact that he's gotten free lunch for kids in school. And I believe he got paid leave for work in Minnesota too. Like, this is exactly what he's talking about. Nobody voted on policy. They don't give a fuck about shit that matters. You're talking about tampons in bathrooms like that's hurting anybody.
Type of policy that I think that we need in the country.
No, hang on. Tell me what Walz did that you liked. Substantially, statistically,
Sam.
that Walz did.
I think things like lunches for kids, expanding educational opportunities.
Wait a minute. There weren't lunches for kids. There wasn't federal money from the Department of Education. Free lunches for kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, and these people don't even know this shit. While they're just so quick to jump down somebody's throat about what they say, they don't even know the information to even combat it. Because that's what I'm saying. Like, he's talking about the tampons. Meanwhile, Tim Walz actually did things that people like and that's beneficial to his state. And you're talking about the tampon shit. You don't even know that he got free lunch for kids.
What else? Well, no, let's go. I really want to hear it because a lot of this was
even one is enough.
Federal money that just.
But I hope he knows
floated.
about the. I
really
believe he
know.
got free.
Well, other states reject.
Maternity leave, and I think family leave for like 6 months or some shit like that. I don't remember. Don't quote me, but it was something like that. I believe.
Expansion of Medicare and Medicaid. I should say Medicaid in Minnesota. He provided for
expansion to who specifically?
See, look, they don't even know this shit. Now it's like, well, how good is it? He did something more than what the fuck Trump trying to do for people.
Through the ACA to people making 400% of poverty. He's got...
Wait a minute. Medicaid is designed, if I walk in with a broken leg to a public hospital, right, that Medicaid is there to take care of me if I'm destitute and unable to it. That's a good thing. And that's exactly the things that California did, and it was already there. What was expanded? What was expanded about that in Minnesota?
You're expanding the pool of people who can access Medicaid on a state by state basis. There's still, I don't know, half a dozen states, Republican states that don't allow that expansion of Medicaid.
Okay, so
you're not aware of that?
So yeah, I'm absolutely aware of it. But what I want to ask you is when you expand the Medicaid, it is a fact that basically you close the public hospitals. And so what you're talking about, the things he did
That's not true.
Oh, yeah? Ask Gavin Newsom. Ask him what happened to King Drew in Los Angeles. This is well documented. I'm stunned.
You can do a choice if you want to close a public. I mean, Andrew Cuomo closed a lot of public hospitals in New York State. That's not a function of Medicaid payments.
You want to go take a look at California and King Drew and what happened? Gavin Newsom himself talked about it.
I'm not a fan of Gavin Newsom, but you're asking me about Walz. And
No, we didn't ask about Walz. You were talking about. You said you like some of the things
He
Walz
asked
was
me
doing.
Yes, but he asked
what I
further.
like about Tim Walz.
He asked further.
you said you
exactly.
And I
like
wanted one of the specifics of the things that he did.
And he gave you that.
Right. Okay. So,
Look at
but
you see
continue.
this is the PBD is such a fucking idiot because you're trying they're so ready to like argue and jump down his throat about everything that he's not following the conversation. He's just looking for some type of dunk on Sam. He said he mentioned he liked Tim Walz. Dude said, "What do you like about him?" And he's telling him now he's like, "Well, he didn't ask about Tim." Yes, the fuck he did. He asked more about why he liked him.
With the following, Sam, if you don't mind, because this is what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
So one, the Republican Party, like you said, I knew 2 years ago that Trump would be a DeSantis, all this other stuff.
Right.
We were on the same page. I thought it was going to be him. But a lot of Republicans were a little bit still staying safe and hesitant of whether they were going to go all in or not the first time you and I spoke. But today, when I said, who do you like, what policies, you said, I like what AOC is doing.
Yeah.
You said Sanders, anti-oligarchy, all that stuff, right?
I have a different, I think, way of looking at politics maybe than you do. It's not for me like if a candidate emerges who embraces a wider set of my preferred policies, that's the one I'll support. I don't really get too involved in the individual, frankly. I mean, Joe Biden was not my favorite candidate by a long shot in 2020. The fact that there were coalitions built out of Warren and Sanders supporters that ended up bringing us a much better set of labor policies than we've seen in my lifetime from my perspective. With the National Labor Relations Board, with just the appointments of people like Abruzzo as the general counsel there, the extension of unions' ability to unionize and helping working people in that way, and then the antitrust regime that was largely a function of like the Warrenites putting in their people to undermine big concentration of money and power. Those are big positives. So, do I like Joe Biden? No. But I also know that if there are the right coalitions formed that have influence within the context of an administration, that's good from my perspective.
Got it. But to me, like running a business or politics, right? Or it shifts when people all of a sudden look at you and they say, I don't like these ideas anymore. So in the Democratic Party, you have a lot of different people that would have different policies. Hey, I think we should do this, and I think we should do that. Great. Obviously, it didn't land November 5th, 2024, whether it was Kamala Harris, whether it was the policies, whether it's 7 states you lose, battleground states you lose, whether it's the majority. It was a bad loss. It was a humiliating loss. One could say it was Kamala. One could say it was Obama. One could say it was Biden stepping. One could say it's Schumer. One could say it's Pelosi. Let's set that part aside. To me, the most basic part is ideas. If someone has ideas,
I just find that hilarious because there was nobody gave a fuck about the ideas, because if they did, Kamala's ideas was better, and there's no other way around it.
That people like, they want to continue that, right?
Stupid.
And we watched, like, if
They
I
didn't
ask a
give a
Democrat,
fuck
even
about
right
it.
now, I ask you for 15 minutes, I still don't know if Democrats know what they're for. Like,
Well,
what
I'm
are
not.
their
I'm
policies
not
for?
speaking for the Democratic Party. I can tell you what I'm for.
Tell me what you're for.
Oh, I am for universal health care,
Okay.
single payer health care.
Yep.
I am for increased ability to unionize. I am for decommodifying parts of the housing sector. I am for decommodifying power. I am for decommodifying access to the internet. I mean, those are my big ones right there. I
Who
think if
in
we
your
could,
party is for that?
well,
He keep trying
Who
to
in
make
the Democratic
him put it
Party
on a
is for that?
person. It's not
I don't
about,
know
he
that
don't
there's
know. There's nobody that has
anybody
everything
who
exactly
in our
he
party
wants.
who embraces all of those. I mean,
Right.
that is a major political figure. I mean, I think I'm to
Right.
the left of the Democratic Party, but I think there are elements of what I want that are represented by people in the Democratic Party. I mean, I think having
exactly, TJ, and this is just a glimpse of the way like MAGA and Republicans work. It's like you don't agree with a person 100%. Like, yes, he has certain. I didn't agree with Biden or Kamala on every fucking thing either. All you can do is try to align yourself with somebody who closely aligns with you. He said there's nobody that does that for him right now. He more advocates for certain policies. He's not advocating for a person. He's, like he said, he's to the left of the party. So stop trying to make him connect himself with a Democratic leader. Like, y'all brain just works like, well, no matter what Trump does, we have to win, so I have to support it no matter how stupid it is. He don't operate like that.
A very jaundiced eye to the overwhelming concentration of wealth and wealth disparity, I think, is a fundamental problem that we have in this country. I think too much of what happens in this country is a function of the concentration of wealth. I mean, that gets back to why I want to return back to the tax regime we had in the 50s and the 60s, where the top marginal rate was 90% for every dollar above what today's money would be about $4 million. So, and just to explain this, because I've seen so many people on the right not understand marginal tax rates that it's almost disturbing. The first $1 million that you earn is taxed at 32%, or whatever the prevailing rate is. The second $1 million you earn, 32%. The third, 32%, because I think that's the highest. Maybe it's 37% is the highest. Once you get over $4 million, every extra dollar after that is taxed at a 90% rate.
That's what you want.
That is what we had in this country for several decades in the post-World War.
Why do you think that's good, though? Because we talked about this. Why do you think that's good?
I'll tell you. Because it flattens wealth disparity.
Okay.
And that is when you have the greatest expansion of the economy.
Right.
When the wealth of the country is shared by as many people as possible. Right. Obviously, it's not everybody gets the same amount, but...
Do you think that's a popular idea?
Probably not.
Do you think 80% of Americans want that?
Probably
Want that?
Well, first of all,
if I was to
80%
show
of Americans won't ever access $4 million. So, of course, people that's not making that money won't care. A lot of people would be content if they could make $2 million a year and still get taxed the 32 or 37% or whatever. But how many Americans is making over $4 million a year? Most Americans probably would. If he explained it to a point, just if Trump could make y'all stupid as fuck to believe that tariffs was gonna help us after you were crying about inflation and price of eggs and shit. If he can explain, like, well, anybody that's making over $4 million, only the 4 million plus is getting taxed at a 90% rate. That way, the wealth could be spread amongst more Americans and help the middle class a little bit more. And that can be explained in a way that's appealing to a lot of people. But PBD is just so fucking, oh God.
Americans. If I was to show
You've been
Americans,
showing for 20 years.
No, you ain't letting them talk.
Put up a graph of income disparity.
Right.
You put up a graph of income disparity. Americans are shocked when they realize how much money is held by the top 1% in this country. Really, the top 0.1% relative to the rest. I mean, like literally a handful of families have more money and more wealth in this country than 50% of the population.
But there's so many questions to that. For me, the question is the following. Here's where I'm trying to go with a guy like you.
You show that to 80% of Americans, and there's no questions. There's going to be like, what the fuck?
You know what?
I don't know if I
you know
can
what
swear
else you
on
can
it.
show? You can't because you're a guest. But you know
I
what
can?
else? You can. CAN.
Okay,
you can. You can. You're a guest. So if somebody could go and say, okay, why don't you pull up who pays the most taxes in America? The top 1% pays 50% of taxes in America. Okay. So you can give that argument. So to me, if we go back and forth, but this is the part I want to do with this specific argument, this specific idea, where I want to go with a guy like you, okay, is I think sometimes like the Democratic Party, you go to a message and you know how Trump tests things out. Yeah, Greenland. It's Greenland. So Greenland. Yeah, Greenland. It's going to be so one way or another. We're not going to go to war, but one. Yeah, you know, a third term. I'm not talking about third term, but a lot of people are talking about third term. Yeah, Canada should just be a 51st state. Governor Trudeau. Trump will throw these things out there, okay? And then the market reacts to it. And the market will say, what is he talking about? And then I believe, this is how I do it as a business owner. You kind of, I'll be in front of, I'll never forget, one time I brought 9 of my guys and I dropped an idea on them. You should have seen the reaction on everybody. You know what the reaction was? They looked at me like I was high. They looked at me like I am on shrooms. They're like, what the Pat, respectfully, these are terrible ideas. So you know what happens to a business owner? They're so used to coming up with bad ideas. What do? They move on with bad ideas. So to me, Trump gets up there and says, what do you think about this? And then he looks, he says, okay, what's the guy that I respect? Okay, this guy's pretty reasonable. What did he say? What did she say? Okay, let's move on. To the Democratic side, somebody like you.
But let
me just finish the point. I'll come to you. Trust me, I want to hear from you. To me, I feel like the Democrats, like you, okay, you have a voice. People watch you. You're an influencer in your community. And you actually have the ability to kind of go and help your community out, help your party out. There are certain policies that you keep pitching that is no longer popular, that's been exposed so many times because
I don't think a lot of people know about something like that. Like, that's not something that's common knowledge to folks.
What we learned, like the biggest part why some of the conservatives like the Doge concept and some of the Democrats that like the Doge concept is it's government wasted expenditure. Obama talked about it. Clinton's talked about it. People on the left, they've talked about it for many, many years. And the average person watches this and says, okay, so after $4 million, you want to put the tax rate at 90%? Yes, I do. Okay, so all you're saying is that the government knows how to use my money better than free enterprise? I don't believe that.
Well,
so that's where the argument stops.
That's not the premise of why I want to do that taxation.
That's not what he said.
The government will redistribute the money. And
that's no longer a popular idea in America.
I
That's the part where you see the young Turks kind of growing and evolving and seeing some of the ideas that kind of is not popular.
Listen, the fact of the matter is government always redistributes money. It always redistributes money. Every government at every moment is redistributing money. The question is, which direction is that money flowing? That's it. There is no doubt. Governments redistribute money at every moment. The question is, which direction
are they at it?
What?
How successful have they been at it? How good are they at it? How much waste have they done with redistributing money?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, look, we have a massive, massive military budget. And if you want to look for waste and fraud in government, that is where you go. That's where all the money is. Everybody knows it. There's an enormous amount of waste and fraud. They can't even get through an audit. How many audits has it been? Half a dozen? Social
7.
Security,
yeah, Pentagon.
And they can't pass a single audit.
I agree.
Social Security is audited all the time. Do you know how much money? Let's talk about this for a second. I watched the video of you guys on the plane down of when Elon Musk was in Wisconsin blowing up his whole brand, essentially. And he was on stage with a guy named Garcias. Do you guys remember this video?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It was like 2 days ago.
Yes. The Social Security numbers spiking in the last 4 years.
The Social Security numbers.
2.2 million new non-citizen Social Security numbers. Yes.
And the amount of misinformation from every single person, all of you, was astonishing to me.
What was it? What was the misinformation?
I mean, I almost feel like we should go through the whole video.
This is coming from a socialist.
No.
The level of credibility.
What is it? First of all, even if I don't know if Sam's a socialist, maybe he is, but even if he was, being a socialist doesn't mean you put out misinformation. He just has ideas you don't agree with. Y'all be lying.
As a socialist,
yes,
progressive system that has never worked.
But
I want to hear it.
That is anti-oligarchy.
But I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Go for it.
First off,
yeah,
you seem to not understand that these were not undocumented immigrants who were getting these Social Security numbers. They are non-citizens. Now, when you came to this country, you were an immigrant. Your parents came legally.
Right.
Every single one of those people who got those Social Security numbers are here legally. They're not citizens, just like you weren't when you first came to this country.
Yeah.
You get a green card. Your parents get a green card. They go through a process.
Yeah.
All of those people, and to understand, they got their Social Security
see your point
card.
Here. I really want to see your point.
Well,
here.
the point is,
Well, the
you
point is
referred
you're
to them as
thinking
undocumented and
undocumented.
illegal.
No,
You did.
I said non-citizen.
No, excuse me.
Don't say
Go-
everyone here.
go-
I
okay.
said non-citizen. Correct
I
yourself.
can't remember which one of you got it wrong. I
Yeah.
think you did.
Just be
right?
specific.
You're thinking, but I
We
don't-
can play the video and go through it. But
I'm still trying to get to the point.
I just
What's
want to
the
make.
point?
Well, the point is,
Talking about
they're
what's
not
the point?
they're
You're
not
lying.
illegal.
That's
they're
the
not
point.
undocumented. They're all legal.
Right.
The expansion from that program, the EBE program, which is enumeration beyond entry, was started under the Trump administration. The numbers have gone up because, yes, under Biden, as opposed to Trump, there was an expansion of people who were here, probably, I'm not sure.
A lot of illegals.
No,
10 plus million.
Not a single one of them.
Record-breaking
Not
number
a
of
single.
people
Hold on, you're
came
changing
in.
the subject now.
No, I'm not.
I'm
changing
talking
the
about
subject.
that video.
Yeah.
And every
Let
one
him
of those
fucking
Social
talk.
Security numbers
Let me
that
ask
was
you a
handed
question.
out.
So
Well,
how
let
do
me
you feel
finish
about the
now.
illegal immigrants
Hold
that
on.
came
Oh my
before you?
God!
I will
Oh,
get
he's
to-
trying to
Yeah.
lay
You
out
don't
a
care
point,
about-
and now you like, let me ask you a question. I can't stand PBD. He never lets people finish a thought. And yes, I think that Sam talks a little slow sometimes, and he's long-winded, but it doesn't matter. He's the guest here. Let him get the fucking point across. You're finna go to a whole different topic, and he's not even done explaining what he's trying to explain.
All those people.
I will get to the
'Cause you cared
undocumented,
about children.
But you don't want
Yeah.
to talk about
Okay.
this, and I don't blame you because it's
Exactly.
But
embarrassing.
don't want him to
let me
talk.
do a quick time out
Every
here.
one
Let me
of
do a
those
quick time
Social
out
Security
here. Do a
numbers-
quick time out here. Sam, let me just do a quick time out. You said you don't want to talk about this. You just spun away from a question I asked you, and you brought
No,
this
let
up.
me
You
finish
haven't
the
even addressed
video.
the question I asked
Let
you.
me
Wait a
finish,
minute.
we'll get to the,
point that
illegal
let's go back to what I asked you. I asked you a question that the money that's going in, Americans prove that they don't trust the government getting the money than free market, free enterprise.
I don't think
you
that's
never
the case.
addressed that.
I don't think that's the
The
case. People
American
love
with the
Social
ex-
Security.
the
People love
wasted
Medicare.
expenditure. What
Okay.
we learned with Doge,
Hold
the
on,
American
no.
people said, Sam, enough of you
That's
take.
because American people don't just know how money gets spent. And I mean, you could tell them like every single dollar and where it goes and shit like that. But it's kind of like, this is why we don't have like a direct democracy. This is why we don't have a direct democracy, because you'll never get all of Americans to agree on how money should be spent when the government gets their hands on it. You'll never get probably never get over 10% of people agreeing on a way of money should be spent. Even if you say give it back to us or whatever, then we'll really be in the shitter. People will not responsible, which is why we even have Social Security in the first place. People in general are not going to be good with their money. And this is why I don't have a problem with a representative democracy, because we don't have the time to learn and know all these things to make a decision about every fucking dollar and where it goes all the time. Like, and he's saying this, and it's like a red herring, because it's like, just saying Americans don't like it doesn't mean they know what it should be done with it. That's not the same thing.
Taking our
Excuse
tax money
me.
and see what you're doing with it.
Elon Musk made that Wisconsin election of a referendum on Doge. To the extent that we've seen anybody vote on Doge, nobody heard the word Doge before November of last year. To the extent that we've seen a referendum on Doge, it just happened in Wisconsin. It happened in Florida, where the size of the win by those Republican congressmen was cut by 17, 20 points. I mean, this is a wipeout. And every Republican, you're going to see a difference in Republican lawmakers over the next year and a half, because anybody who was in a plus Trump 8 district or less is now starting to go like, wait a second. That's why Musk is being shown the door, supposedly. So getting back to my point about those Social Security numbers, they were given all to legal non-citizens. And every one of those cards, you can't vote, because I think you definitely said, and I think maybe you said, that this is a Democratic strategy to get voters. Hold on for a second. The Social Security card that they get literally says not legitimate for voting purposes. It is so that these these non-citizens who are legal,
You're that naive.
just like when you came
that
in,
naive.
excuse me,
Can't
pay
vote.
into
You
the
are that
Social
naive.
Security
Why is he
system.
saying you're that naive? Y'all don't have proof. Elon is just showing you numbers. They fucking around with Doge, firing people, don't know what's going on, don't know how to read charts and shit and numbers, and don't understand what's happening. And you're saying he's naive because how many people do you think are voting that aren't supposed to? It's just not an issue. It's not a real problem. It's like trying to figure out the issue of how to get people not allergic to grass to still be able to interact with it. It's just such a low number of people that you just cannot be sitting here worrying about it.
And get many of them never get
So-
that money back. So in addition to the undocumented immigrants who pay in $22 billion a year into Social Security and get zero back, these people pay several $billion in a year, and only if they become citizens, which
They get to reap the
most of them
benefits.
won't. Most of them will go back home over a period of time. They're here for temporary protected status. Maybe some of them are refugees and they get permanent citizenship. They won't get that money either. So every single thing of that video, this video here, was completely wrong that you guys did. It was fascinating to me because I feel like you, at the very least, I believe that you care about the information you're putting out. And this was all wrong. And
So they're up there. So Sam, this is all a lie.
Yes! Like, what the fuck are you, like, why is he saying that like it's just unheard of? Yes, it was all a lie. Elon Musk has been lying. Elon Musk is the most prolific liar on X. Like, yes, it's all a lie. Why is he saying it like, how can this possibly happen? You've been getting lied to for years. And he's acting like, you're saying this is a lie? Yes, it's a lie.
These guys were up there just completely bullshitting with all the
Yes.
numbers. Where he's saying that people
they're
in the
saying it's fraud.
government are blowing the whistles. He didn't want to say their names. He was giving them praise. And for Sam, for you
This
to say
is
that
all-
you care about the kids and the labor and all that stuff. We've had an open border for 4 years.
And again, I get that y'all want to embellish it. The border is not open. It was never open, but y'all gotta just run the script.
All the illegals, way more than 10 million, have come into this country. California, is that where you live?
no,
Where do you live?
I live in New York.
Okay, great, even better. California. So the amount of money that we spent on illegals with housing and all that shit, and Gavin,
What do you think is happening? The amount of money we spent on illegals with housing, like, do you really think that there's this significant number of undocumented people just like taking up housing from people that need it? This is, oh my God.
Newsom passing a law that you don't even need an ID to vote. You're saying that we're coming up.
You don't need it when you go to vote, but you have to register to vote and prove that you're a citizen when you register to vote. Like, why? What? I don't understand why these people act like they just forget everything true to make a point. They keep saying you don't need an ID to vote. Yes, I didn't have to show my ID to vote, but I had to register to vote where I needed a fucking ID and to prove that I'm a citizen. Like, what the fuck? Like, stop with this nonsense. You don't just decide to vote one day without having any form of identification to show that you're a citizen that's eligible to vote. You don't just like get to walk up there on the voting day and be like, I live at this address. Let me vote. They're going to be like, you're not registered to vote. Go. Bye. What the fuck?
Where these people aren't coming in for the votes. That's the main goal of this whole thing. What was the open border for?
So what happened? Why did we lose since there's so many people? Why did we lose since there's so many fucking people that's voting that aren't supposed to vote? How did we still lose? We got all these people to cheat for us when we weren't in power and Trump was president. All these illegal immigrants voted when we didn't have any power to do anything. Then when we really was scared of Trump and was like, you know what, this motherfucker got to go because we gave him a chance before. He ain't shit. So we really can't let him win. So if there was any cheating going on, this was the time to show and prove. Now all of a sudden we can't even win by a little bit. And that's after we got this influx of people to come vote. Get the fuck out of here. I guess they didn't get the memo. The leaders' plans didn't work on them, huh?
Why was the border open for 4 years? Answer me that question.
First of all, the border was not
wasn't
open.
open.
Give me are you kidding me?
Look at this. This is what these people are just believing anything. Like, it's just, and Vinny's finna get purple as purple gets and just finna lose his shit over some shit that's not true. Like, yes, there was a problem with asylum seeking. The border was not open by any means. Didn't fucking Biden deport the second most people ever of a president? His numbers weren't nothing crazy except for COVID, where people had to come in droves after they were told they couldn't come. Like, there's a reason for how the border was handled, and it's not because it was open.
What do you mean the border
Sam,
wasn't
what do you-
open? Are you
Sam.
Hold on. Did you smoke
you know what
before
I
you
love
came in
about
here?
this?
That's ridiculous.
By the way, Vinny, here's the part,
You're
though.
full of it, bro.
Here's the part.
Get out of here.
Sam, here's the part when I hear this, okay?
Anybody can look at that video. The things you were saying
Tell me the
yesterday
border-
Rob,
was
do me
a
a favor, Rob.
complete
Sam,
sack
type in-
of
What?
lies,
Okay,
type
or
in
just misinformation.
illegal
Be honest with me, the border-
immigration year
Yeah.
over year over year. Type
Sam,
in illegal immigration year over year.
The fact that you're saying the border wasn't
do
wide
I
open.
turn
How
his
many
volume
deaths?
down a little
How
bit?
many deaths
He just doesn't-
have happened? How many
Images,
fentanyl
yes.
deaths have happened per year while your
my
freaking
God.
president Joe Biden was in office?
Oh my
How many? Hold on. How many Americans died just from fentanyl?
So-
and you're saying the border wasn't wide open? We've had the most illegal entry in 4 years in the history of the country.
dude.
You're and
right,
this is
I'll
why
answer
let
you.
me finish. And this is why your party sucks. This is why your party is at 29% approval
20%.
because you got 20. Thank you. Because all you guys do is talk shit and just go anti-Trump. You have no policies. You guys have no vision. You have no
Title
leaders.
42 ends, and then that's when it goes up.
You're talking about oligarchs and you hate the oligarchs. What do you think Bernie Sanders and AOC are going to get
Yeah,
their money
because
from? Their
and not-
donors. Are you
Okay.
like,
TJ,
don't
it's
look-
not even because X said it. It's because it's Trump said it. That's what it is. Or Elon by proxy. It's not even because X. It's because Trump. Only Trump.
lie to yourself. For you to look and like, by the way, you're talking about yesterday we lied.
AOC and Bernie Sanders don't take
Hold on,
money
ready
from
for this?
those people.
You're saying that we lied 2 days ago. You just lied, and you're gonna look like a fool that the border wasn't wide open. Look at this chart. What does that chart say to you? Say, what is that? What did Trump, when Trump was in, he was trying to close it, but your party was fighting it. It's unbelievable how many illegals have come in the past 100 days.
But this is
Wait,
the part
wait.
to just be very just show the data. Illegal immigration. This is Wall Street Journal.
And then again, it's like y'all don't care about why, if anything. You're just like, look at the numbers. There's an explanation for it. Don't just be like, look.
It's a bigger problem than ever.
Oh, no, that's
These
fake
5
news.
charts
No.
explain why. Go
Okay.
a little bit lower. That's under
first off,
Biden.
Trump
Okay.
got
First off-
shot trying to show these charts.
Oh
Literally.
my God.
This is October of 2023. Go to
Like,
the next one.
A guy who was registered
Here's-
Republican.
here's another
Hold
one
on,
for
wait. Let
you.
me.
Oh, yeah,
can
he's
I
a
address
Republican.
what
Let's go. No,
his
let me just show the
rant
data,
was?
and then I want you to say
Let
what
me
you want to say.
address
Go a
what
little bit lower.
Look, the moment you gotta analyze some shit, MAGA losing their shit, they're like, no, just look at the chart. Look at the chart. Look at these numbers. Wow, the border was open. Yeah, but and he's like, okay, well, can I talk about it? Like, they can't engage on any deeper level than just looking at numbers.
Lower
His-
the data,
his-
Ron. No, because he said it's inaccurate. This is another one here.
Okay,
No,
well,
that's
go
not
back
what
up.
he
Go
said.
back up to the.
And then go to the last
He
one,
didn't
Rob.
say it's inaccurate. He said the border wasn't open, which the border wasn't open.
Go to the last one, Rob.
Go to the top one here.
I mean, this is the
I'll go
numbers
through
you're
all of
talking
these
about.
charts.
So this is you can
Start one by one. Go up.
They don't
Explain-
want to do it. They keep trying to just fly through. He's like, we can go through it.
every one of them. Go
Okay.
for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can see that this is what constitutes illegal immigration. These are, if it was an open border, you would not have these numbers. You would not have the numbers to
was an
know
open border, you
when
would.
Title 4
Yes, because if it's illegal, that means they're not being accounted for. That's why you wouldn't have them. Fuck, I hit mute on accident.
people are coming to the border to
an
know
open border, you
when
would.
Title 42 ends,
Yeah.
more people are coming to the border and they're being put into a system. Period.
That's the best part about
and that's
And
the
the problem was the asylum system is the problem. It's not illegal people.
Because they were
Definition-
told to come. Sam, let me explain something.
no, no,
when
no,
when
no.
your president
Can I-
says, come to the
Is he
country.
just gonna yell all the
No, I'm
time?
not yelling. You just give me
You are
facts.
yelling.
Can I turn down his microphone because
You can, yeah. Just see which one he is. I think he's C3 or which one is it, Rob?
Seat
So
3.
can I
C3.
turn down his
Go
microphone?
ahead, lower that right
and then,
there.
And then the mic.
Right there. There you
Volume,
go. Can you,
just
is that
lower.
good? Is that good? Oh,
C2.
C2. There you go.
Okay, go for it.
All right.
Go
All right,
ahead.
good.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So
You're still going to hear the truth, though. Go ahead.
no, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Can't turn down the truth. Is
No,
what
you
you're saying.
can't.
Open border
And Vinny is not the guy to do it.
would mean that we have no records of people coming across the border. The law in this country has been that if you put your foot in this country, it's an international law, it's a U.S. law. If you put your foot in this country and you apply for asylum, you are due a process to do that. 98% of those people who are then what you guys would call catch and release come back for their hearings. We are woefully understaffed in terms of like immigration judges.
Yeah.
And that process is definitely broken.
It's broken.
I would
right.
love to see more money spent.
And they just like ignore the fact that the asylum system is fucked up. And when it tried to get fixed, y'all fought it. God.
People so that we can establish
Vinny.
which ones, like your family,
Like my family
Maybe-
as well, illegal immigrants.
but came in
Yep.
through a refugee status. They weren't citizens on day one. They
Retarded,
came
bro.
in, they went through a process, and and it's possible at that time. I mean, I remember, I was old enough to remember the Iran hostage situation. I remember the fallout afterwards. There may have been some form of temporary protected status, whatever it was at the time, that allows people to come in. Then they're assessed and processed. It's determined that, yes, their claim for asylum is appropriate or not, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we're looking at there. As you scroll up on those other charts, you can see when Title 42 ends, which was only supposed to be an emergency situation that has to do with health, and you can't have it both ways. Either COVID ends or it doesn't end, the pandemic, and so people come in. There's no doubt, and that number on that chart that Musk had, under Biden, more people received temporary protected status. We had a problem in Haiti as the country is falling apart. You had people from Ukraine coming in because of, obviously, the invasion. These are all under temporary
here's a
protected
question for
status.
you,
They
Sam.
all got
Sam.
Social Security numbers so they could pay taxes into our government and not necessarily get
vote
the services
Democrats,
back.
Yes, and vote for Democrats.
No, they
right, yes,
can't
so-
vote.
Right.
Those Social Security
can't
cards
vote.
literally say
AOC,
on the card, say,
AOC,
you can't use this for
AOC
voting.
can't vote.
said we don't have an illegal immigration
Y'all
problem.
just see they just don't give a fuck about anything that's attached to reality. It's just like, no, we're just gonna keep saying the same dumb shit. They don't give a fuck. If there are people voting that's not supposed to, it is not in any capacity to the point that they can change the election. Why did they lose again? Why? Why did they lose when they had the power to do it?
problem. We have a documentation problem. That's
Yeah.
what AOC said. So
That's-
this is not something new. You know how when you talk about who's better at gerrymandering, the left or the right?
Republicans seem to be better at that.
The Republicans are
I know.
much better
I
at
agree.
that.
Guess what? So it's not like they can fight it and say, no, we're not. That's their reputation. They have it. They're better at gerrymandering. Strategically, they're better at doing that. But for you to sit here,
I don't have a problem.
May I make
like
my
you do
point?
with
Let me
with
make my
immigrants.
point.
Yeah.
When you sit
That
here
too.
and
That's a big problem. They seem to just hate immigrants, and some people don't, and they just seem like they damn near don't want anybody here.
you watch yourself when you're saying these policies and you spew out these policies, what the average person does, they'll watch it, and if they've already outgrown it, because today the problem with folks, content creators have today is the following. Say we say something on a video and we're wrong. You know what others will do? They'll react to it and they'll say stuff to it. And if we're right, they'll keep coming to us to want to hear more of it because
But
they'll
you're
say,
wrong.
at least you
Thanks for giving up the game. Y'all lie and people react to it and agree and don't care and repeat the lie, and then people just believe it. Like y'all are victim of it too. You hear Trump, you believe it, you don't check it because it sounds good to you, and you keep reporting it and spilling the lie, and the other people do the same.
sound reasonable. And they'll say, I want to hear what John has to say. I want to hear what Joe has to say. I want to hear what Megan has to say. I want to hear what, whoever these people are that are giving ideas out there want to say, right? But when you keep saying stuff that others are able to tear apart so many times,
Yeah. And
that
Sam
a
can, and y'all
liberal,
don't
a
care.
former liberal watches that maybe was a viewer of you and says,
What are you
how
tearing
can
apart?
Sam not see this and outgrow it?
What?
He is still stuck on this policy that's been proven. Americans don't want to pay more taxes to a government that wastes their taxes. How does he not see that? How does he keep pushing this agenda back and forth? Then you lose an audience, and the people you keep is the following. Here's who you end up keeping. You end up keeping an audience that makes you think you're right, but that's not always the case. You keep an audience that, of course, hates rich people. Rich people are bad people.
didn't
and
even
they're
say
probably
that.
not making a lot of money, and they come to Sam to save them. Hey, let's trash and bash rich people because this is what we got to do. Yes, Sam, let's go after the rich people. But in reality,
are you talking about me? Because we just had our biggest month.
no,
And when people
and that's what's funny how he's saying all this because yes, left-leaning media outlets are starting to surpass the right ones. It's just a natural swing. Like they was like this mandate. Like they've been doing all this, and it's just a natural swing. We almost always go back and forth between parties. Like when's the last time a second-term incumbent won the third? Like I don't know. So if y'all know, let me know. But this shit just keeps swinging back and forth. That's just all this. It just happens. Like, they were acting like the Democrats there's no way ever they can ever come back. And now left-leaning media has been trouncing the right. Like, and as far as, like, they're starting to gain on them. And why is that? Because they see they're being lied to. Mr. You see they keep coming back and it doesn't resonate, all that stupid shit.
you had the biggest one because of Jubilee. You were on Jubilee and you were on that
We've
show.
been going
Wait,
back.
the Jubilee just premiered at the end of the month. Why are they acting? Why is he saying that like that would have carried their entire month? And even if it was because of Jubilee, that means they liked what Sam had to say and then went to the majority report to get more of what they liked, what they saw, meaning they probably saw that he had better points than all these stupid ass people on the right.
Up.
No, you were on Jubilee, and
Yeah.
Jubilee gave you a lot of eyeballs. So
Oh,
Jubilee brought a lot of traffic
of people
to you.
agreed.
Exactly, you idiot. Why you just proved you just use your own logic on yourself to try to make Sam look stupid, and his face is funny as hell to catch too. You just explained that he probably had an influx of people because of Jubilee. If it was because of Jubilee, that means they liked what Sam had to say and agreed with him. They probably didn't hear it before.
And
Yeah.
Jubilee gave you a lot of eyeballs. So Jubilee brought a lot of traffic to you.
people agreed.
A
lot of- I mean, no. I mean, a lot of people agreed.
He don't know what to say. Fucking stupid ass. Oh my God. He was like, well, I don't, shut the fuck up. No matter how you slice it, Sam was either gaining viewers because they starting to see that the right is full of shit, or he gained them because of Jubilee, because they saw once he went against people on the right, they full of shit. Like, come on.
Agree or disagree?
I would say.
Why would he get more eyes because they disagree? Pat, I'm watching your show right now because of Sam Sedar. Majority Report isn't a show where they bring on people on the right all the time. This doesn't make sense. I will never watch your show unless you're talking to somebody that I know will make you look stupid, because when nobody's there to check y'all up there just saying a bunch of dumb shit. I tried to watch it, but y'all sit there and say stupid shit all day. You lie. You don't understand things. You take things out of context. I don't watch your show. Sam showed himself on a neutral platform and got people to go to him. How about that?
No. I mean, a lot of people agreed.
Did more agree or disagree?
I would say a lot more agreed.
Well, you would say that because you're in it.
Well,
So for
I mean, you want me to do metrics? We had our biggest subscription.
I believe you because
month.
Jubilee helped you.
Okay.
But why would people pay to see him if they think he's wrong? Was he hearing himself?
Hey, but my point is that
Credit to you. You should say thank you to Jubilee. That's a
thank
very
you, Jubilee.
Yeah.
See, now he on bullshit. Now he's trying to he's trying to be condescending. Because what you should say thank you to Jubilee, bitch. What the fuck are you talking about? Why would he?
I would also add that, like, I think there are definitely people who watch my show and then over a period of time are going, I disagree with Sam. And proudly, those people move to the left of where I'm at.
You think people move to the left?
of you?
100%.
Sam, do you realize?
100%.
Do you realize how to make a statement? And I love that you said it.
Oh, it's true.
I love that you said it. So you think people who age and live longer, they go further to the left and to the right? You think as people mature in life?
Am I the oldest person on this?
No, you're not. But
I'm
you
pretty
see,
close, I bet.
No, you're pretty far. It's just the other guy looks very young. But you
How old are you?
he's 62.
You got me by 3 years.
Yeah. So you're not. So
You're 59, dude.
yeah.
Good for you.
But do you think as people age they become more conservative or more liberal, more leftist?
I think it changes with generations. But
No, that's not the case. There is a evident more of one or the
Yes.
other? Do you think, like it's asking a question, do you think
That was a
as we
perfect
age, do our
pause.
bones get stronger or
His
weaker?
face he was making.
They get weaker. As we age, do we become more leaning? Okay,
Oh my God, he finna use these stupid ass analogies that don't really latch on the same. Your body maybe not getting stronger as you get older has nothing to do with you using your mind. You learn things with experience. Now, if your mind starts to deteriorate, that's totally different. But if your mind isn't deteriorating and you've seen things in the past, in the present, you could make better decisions in the future. So this is a terrible analogy.
this is a chart. Perfect. Thank you for that. Pew Research. As we age, we become more conservative. But to you, the more you age, the more you become progressive and leftist. See, that's the part where Americans, as they age and go through, you may have a very young audience that finds you.
This, I think if you look at this chart, and first of all, you'll also notice that like the dynamic shifts, right? So if what you were saying was true, 70 to 79 would be greater Republican favor than 60 to 69. I don't know what to tell you.
So funny.
But
So
I will,
Wait, what's this? Ages. Okay. So older people lean, right? Damn, it's so crazy how it just shifts like that. That's crazy. Lean left, younger people lean left, and then as they get older, it shifts over to the right.
I'm
also
starting to
tell you-
realize
but I
what
will
your
also-
shtick is. I'm
What
getting
my
your
shtick
shtick.
is? I'm looking at the numbers you put up on this graph.
18 to 24 is 34.
Oh,
then
no,
it goes
no,
to
largely-
32. Oh, my
largely-
God. You know, they became more liberal
but
because they
you're-
went to college
you're
and they
telling me-
screwed up their brains.
Wait,
And
no.
then they go to 42, 47, 50, 50. Oh, they dropped to
You're-
51
you're-
and they go to 58. Nope,
Yeah,
they're becoming
they-
more liberals at 70 to
No,
79.
and
Do you
I
know
would
why
also
70 to 79
suggest-
become more
listen,
liberal?
I will also
Do you know why
suggest you-
70 to
no, no.
79 becomes more liberal?
I
Do you
will
know why
also-
70 to 79 becomes more
Facts,
liberal?
Try.
Yes, because they're getting Social Security.
Exactly. So they got to protect it. So they're like, hey, man,
Yeah.
at least, yeah, I agree. But still at 80
Free
plus, they're
stuff
more
on fixed
conservative.
income is
But
popular.
You know why
will
80 plus
also
they're more
suggest
conservative?
I will also suggest to you
I
that
get the
it has
shtick
to
you
do
play
with
now.
the years that you grow
It's
up
the same
in.
thing I said to you
People
last time
50
as well.
to 59 grew up in a Reagan era and a Thatcher era. And as in the wake of that,
Got it. So
you
it's
can see
more-
that people
I
are
love how whenever Sam tries to interpret numbers, they like don't care. They just want to look at the numbers and jerk themselves off instead of analyzing why things are what they are. I'm not even saying Sam's right in this because I don't know. I couldn't look at that and give a reason personally, but he's trying to assess it in a way to interpret what the numbers can mean. And they're like, like they don't care anything about analyzing numbers. They just want to look at them and just slap each other's dicks, fucking cross each other.
more progressive, increasing.
Why did Charlie Kirk blow up so much the last 4 years? Specifically 18 months.
You
Why
know,
can't
Because this is the misinformation age, and people are drawn to it for whatever reason.
he blow up on TikTok out of all the places?
Did you see?
How do you blow up on TikTok? Do
did
you know he was the most viewed Jubilee out of all of them?
Did you see that?
I think so. Can you see how many views Charlie Kirk got on Jubilee?
But this is
That's
this is,
inconvenient.
This
Yeah,
is
it doesn't
this
mean
is
much.
just absolute.
Why do you think Charlie Kirk blew up?
Oh
blew
my
up though?
God.
I have theories.
I want to hear it.
How did he start? How did Charlie Kirk start?
I don't care how he started.
No,
I'm
no,
asking
no,
how
no.
he's finishing.
What the
How
fuck?
did he blow
What do
up
you mean?
so
What
much
do you
in the
mean? How
last
he
18
started?
wanna
months?
Going to
address it?
colleges,
No,
speaking
no.
in front of colleges. What do you mean?
Yeah, how did TPUSA get started?
Tell us. Let's see what angle
My
you're going to.
assumption
What
is he was going to
shtick-
college talking to
I
students.
actually want to
Yeah.
hear what he says because I'm watching these two times.
He got paid by a billionaire to start that organization.
Got it. So
it's just the truth.
So there is
Well,
no
what's wrong with that?
conviction.
There's
So
nothing
there's no
wrong with
Say
it.
conviction on what
something
Charlie
wrong
does.
with
No,
it.
no, I'm sure there's conviction in what Charlie
Yeah.
does.
Why did
Although
Charlie
he's
do so in the
changed
last
over-
18 months?
I mean,
Why do you think a 20-year-old guy? Why is he blowing up the way that he is? Why is this
well, he's not 20. He's in his
28 years old, 29,
No, he's
30
30
years
now.
old?
He's 30 now, but he started when he was 20.
Yeah, the last 2 years he was in his 20s. Why has he blown up so much?
I mean, I think there's a lot of money circulating
it's the
on
money.
the right.
But he
Got
started
it.
when he was 18.
forget
for
the
Turning
money.
Point USA. He was
Sam,
2012.
Sam.
To go to college.
To blame it on the money. What about his voice, his reason, his rationale?
for Breitbart,
There
he
is
was
none.
By
telling
the way,
There
so here's
is
a question.
none.
Here's a question. So you think if you got the same money Charlie got, you would have the same views?
Yeah, I think I saw Milo Yiannopoulos on Tim Pool about a month or two ago,
Yeah.
talking about how the Daily Wire got so big and he said,
We're
this
asking
is
about
Milo
Charlie.
Yiannopoulos. Well, he said,
Charlie's different than
the-
Daily Wire.
100%.
Right.
He said, in the right-wing
Yeah.
content era, he said, we buy bots, we buy views, we buy.
Oh
I mean, I
my
knew.
God.
I'm
You are
telling you
not
what
saying
Milo
that. Oh, my
Yiannopoulos said.
Go ahead.
This is what he said.
This
Go
is
ahead, go
this
ahead.
is
Pull it up.
fantastic.
And he
They're always
said,
popular in
This is
we
America.
fake it till we make it.
Oh my.
And that's why
And-
that's why he's non-existent anymore.
Sam,
Oh my
he used to
God.
be a big voice. Now you don't hear nothing
Sam,
about it.
respectfully, there's something called giving credit where credit is due. Regardless of where Charlie got his money. Hold on.
I don't care. It's great.
No.
I'll give him credit. Charlie Kirk
Okay, but it's-
has
but-
made a lot of money.
But that's not where the credit is due.
What do you want me to say?
And I don't even know how much money he's made. The point is, he's motivated a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's where the credit should be done. He's changed the hearts and minds of people
He helped Trump
on
win.
campuses. He would arguably be the number one reason that Trump flipped Arizona.
Yeah.
To not give someone credit for the good work they've done and
think
blame it on a
Musk's
billionaire.
money flipped Arizona.
Is it-
You
okay.
look at TPUSA played heavily in the Cary Lake race.
So-
Huge, and the biggest, the widest loss they had was people under the age of 30.
Okay. So you don't want to give Charlie any credit. You blame. So
No,
why-
I don't care.
But Sam, hold on. Before
Hey,
being
give him all the credit in the
Sam,
world.
before being a nihilist,
I'll give him a trophy.
Sam, you've had.
said,
Let me
"I
just
don't
ask this
care."
What does
question.
he want? He can take the.
Sam,
I don't
give
think
him your
Charlie
car.
wants.
We're right
I
here,
don't think
buddy.
Charlie needs anything.
yeah, Sam.
Well, I don't
Charlie
understand
won
why
on
this conversation.
TikTok.
So
Sam,
a
you
billionaire
just-
gives Charlie money and he automatically wins. Okay, I got a question for you. Explain how Mark Benioff puts money into Time magazine and it goes
I like
down.
Sam, but sometimes he just like the cadence of his speech is kind of off-putting. He doesn't sound confident sometimes. He's informed on shit though, so he is a good one. I like him. I like David Pakman too. I like Destiny for the informal shit. But Sam also, like when he was on Jubilee, when he kept getting himself into conversations he wasn't prepared for, that was when he looked bad. He was letting himself get dragged into conversations he wasn't ready to have, like when he was talking about God and stuff like that. You know, that he shouldn't have even treaded those waters because it made him look like he didn't know what he was talking about. But other than that, Sam be knowing shit.
Down.
I don't know who Mark Benioff is. And I haven't
Salesforce.
read Time magazine in
Well, you should get around
decades.
more. It's unfortunate. Come out of the echo chamber. Mark Benioff is one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time who used his money after his business success, and he went and he buys Time magazine because he wants to push liberal views and values, and the thing craters.
He would love
Well,
you.
then
That-
me
but wait,
not
he's a
reading
billionaire.
Time
It should
magazine
work.
You should hit him up
would
for
be
money.
getting out of my
Hit him up for money.
my bubble, right?
Yeah, but you know what it is?
That's true.
Sam,
I gotta give you
I
credit for
like
that.
to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I truly do. And I try to look at the only one you can succeed in business and in life and in sales, like you're developing other people, is you have to always look at the best of everybody. You don't have a choice. As a parent, you have to always look at the best of your kids. You don't have a choice for them to do their best, right? And I
try
truly
and do
want to
that
look
with
at
my
you
kids.
and look at it from the part of the best to say capable, great communicator, temperament is solid. You go through it. I want to see all the good with you. But the part where you sit there and you realize some policies don't work, the
What
young Turks,
policies don't work?
Go to
What name a
well,
policy that I support that doesn't work?
what do you think about
90% tax rates. I would start there.
Yeah.
Like I say, when we had those in
don't
this country,
understand.
this is everybody
He's
can
acting
look
like
this
it just
up.
means
We
90%,
had
period.
what was known as the Great Compression. It was the greatest
The market-
expansion
the market-
of our economy and the lowest wealth
do you think about-
disparity
No.
we had in the history of this country. I don't know how you would define it anything other than a success.
Let me ask you a question. Let's stay right here on this 90% tax rate. 90%. So
Top marginal.
Stop,
I'm with you.
Stop saying it as if it's just flat 90%. He's talking about after you make $4 million.
So you get to keep 10%.
No, 10%
Top
of every
margin, of
dollar
course.
after $4 million.
Okay. No, well, here we
That's
go. I'm
what
going to
he
ask you a
said.
question. Like,
That's what
stay
it
with me for a
is.
second.
Okay.
You just said you had a great month, great quarter, right? Like you.
Jubilee was
Your
a big help.
whatever it was,
Jubilee's
Jubilee
is
ain't making
billionaires.
$4
You
million.
know
Yeah.
what billionaires are
Mark
to Charlie?
Benioff
How much
did-
Jubilee's his
additional
billionaire.
profit revenue did you make in the last quarter? Because
He keep trying to
you
make
went
this,
viral so many
He
times.
keeps
How much?
trying to
I mean,
take
I
a-
don't know, but I would guess it's somewhere around tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands. So not millions, tens of thousands.
No.
Okay, so what are you gonna?
He thought what the fuck he said after $4 million and after that. So even before your $4 million, you're not getting that 90%.
Do with that extra 30 grand, 100 grand? What are you gonna do with it?
We're gonna hire another person.
Oh, so you're gonna expand?
Well, I don't know if we're
gonna hire
gonna
another
expand,
person?
but I'm gonna probably. I mean,
You're gonna invest.
well,
Pretty
I'm
much,
gonna
yeah,
invest into
invest in
something.
it.
You're not just gonna bury it in the sand. You're gonna use it.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Here's the problem.
So, no, we gotta understand. This is the company.
Yeah.
These are pre-tax dollars. When I say
Sure.
90 cents on every dollar, I'm talking individual tax. So
these ideas
this
are-
is
yeah.
not
These are
about
ideas
corporate
have been-
tax. It wouldn't impact anything you're saying about the business. But go ahead.
But we're talking about taxes in general. Let's
No,
not
no,
talk
no,
No,
about
we're not.
There's a
No,
difference
see
between-
these people don't ever want to talk about the core of whatever is being said. He wants to. We're talking about taxes. No, I'm talking about individual tax. I'm not talking about my business. So this is the problem with them. They can't go in depth in anything because when they do, they lose. Almost every time when you go in depth in something, they lose. He wants to talk about taxes. He said, no, what I'm talking about is individual income personally after $4 million. Personally. Like, come on.
Personal taxes and corporate taxes.
Well, if you have an S corp, it flows through to the individual, so it's the same thing. How are you registered with the?
Oh my God.
It's an
the
S
IRS?
corp,
Oh,
but it's
so it
pre-tax
flows through to
dollars.
you.
It's pre-tax dollars.
It's literally what it does. It's the same as individual, but respect to you. But you
See,
can't
we don't have a problem
take-
with you making money and getting
I
rich.
want you to
We're
be
okay with that.
Honestly, I'm a little disappointed. It was only tens of thousands of dollars. I wish it was millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I wish the best for you.
How many fucking YouTubers make millions a month? Not that many.
But here's the problem: why you can't tax your way to making everybody wealthy.
No,
So
no,
it's
no.
not
I'm
what
not
he's- that's not
taxing
the
my way
point.
to making everybody wealthy.
That's not
I'm
the
taxing.
point.
Understand the 90% tax rate
Yes.
on every dollar after $4 million is to deal with wealth disparity in this country. Because I believe the more you concentrate wealth, the more you concentrate political power.
Why 4 million?
And I believe in democracy.
Why 4 million?
Just because that's what
What do
we
you mean
had
the line, PTJ? What do you mean the line?
for 15, 20 years in this country. I mean, it was 470,000 in
Why
1940.
not do that like
No.
$300,000?
I'm just because I'm a student of history and I really appreciate Ronald Reagan. Do you know the Reagan story of why he ended up running for governor and for president? Do you know the whole tax story? Let me give it to you real
I know
quick.
the story of GE sending him around to fight against Medicare.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm guessing he picked that number because that's the number they used before. But I would say, like, maybe if he really wanted to do it, yeah, back with data, right. I would say if he wanted to have that, maybe you have to adjust for the times to where that line should be. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, but that's not the story we're talking about. The tax story that Ronald Reagan basically was like, holy crap. Because everything.
But notice you actually care to analyze why he picking that number. They're just attacking the idea, period. They're not even comprehending what he's saying. At least you're asking a valid question. Like, well, why 400? Why 4 million? Why wouldn't it be 7 or 1 or whatever that is? But they don't give a fuck. They're just like, we can't talk about this because it actually kind of, in some ways, ain't even that bad of an idea. Like, maybe the number could be higher. Would you be mad if he said, okay, everybody makes over 10 million? Can we do the 90% then? And it's like, you think an individual person won't be okay making $10 million a year? You know what I'm saying? So,
with taxes has to do with incentives and
this
motivation.
is just basically off them having completely different ideas of what America should look like and caring about the wealth disparity. I want people to make money and make the money they make and whatever. But when we do have this disparity that's so big and they're not, I do feel like people that make that much money could afford to share the wealth so their company can still thrive. If people are hurting to even spend money with whatever empire you have, then you're hurting yourself too.
So the story with Reagan was the following. The top marginal tax rate back in the 40s and 50s when Ronald Reagan, before he became a governor, he was a famous what? Actor. There we go. We're on the same page. Was $200,000.
Yes, exactly.
And the equivalent of $200,000
exactly what I'm
today
thinking.
is $2.5 million.
It do incentivize
So at
you.
$200,000, the top marginal tax rate was your favorite number?
90%.
90%. We're going somewhere. So do you know his famous quote? I'll do 2 movies a year. I get paid $100,000 per movie. Tell me why I should go make a 3rd movie. Because if you're going to tax me at 90%,
And you know what?
he shouldn't.
If you've seen his
exactly.
movies, We didn't miss much.
No, don't go there, guy. Don't go there, guy.
I don't know what to tell
Talk
you.
numbers.
If you don't want to, make a movie, don't make it.
Stop it. The reason he wouldn't make the movie is because he would
Sam's
only
shtick.
keep 10%. He said famously, I can make freaking Gone with the Wind. I wouldn't keep any of the money. It has to do with, you said shtick, carrots and sticks. If you don't incentivize people, if you don't incentivize entrepreneurs, why will they work harder?
Okay.
Why will they invest?
So
you
all
just
right,
had a great incentive.
That's a fair
you
critique.
killed it. You
That's a
made
fair
tens
critique.
of thousands of
I'm
dollars.
going to
That's a
take your
fair
metaphor.
critique.
Do
I'm gonna take
something
your
with that
metaphor.
money.
So what
a fair
happens
critique.
when Ronald Reagan gets to that threshold of the wealthiest of the wealthy in the country? Because that's what it takes, right? To be making $4 million a year, that
But
puts
you,
you.
no. You're making up $4 million like
Okay,
a floozy.
well, okay, 2.5.
It's 200,000. Yeah, let's use
Okay,
actual
2.5.
math. That's what the
In
correlation
today's,
is. Yes.
So if you're making $2.5 million a year, that places you in the top 1 or 2%, I would imagine, maybe even smaller.
It's less.
0.5%.
Yeah, top
sure.
1% is about $500,000.
Okay.
Wow.
So you're in the top 0.5%
Sure.
of the
Just like
country.
you're in the top 1% of
Right,
a podcaster.
right.
You're doing great.
Top 0.5%. What happens when Ronald Reagan decides I'm only going to make 2 movies a year is you get an opportunity to be that actor, and then somebody else gets the opportunity to make that money.
So
Fair? That was a fair critique, and I think this is fair. It's like, well, I'm going this far. Now, I guess that does open opportunities for other people. So I don't want to make this movie, or I don't want to expand my podcast. Well, hire somebody else. I think this is what you said, Pastor Joy. I think you're saying like it incentivizes them to reinvest. Now you reinvest, and now somebody else has an opportunity to acquire that wealth. I like how we can walk through this. Adam asked a good comeback question. Sam had a good comeback response. This is how policy conversations are supposed to go. Not shoot it down because you just don't like how it sounds. And that was a good response. You just open an opportunity for somebody else, which is why he said the wealth is getting shared amongst more people, which if you don't like that, you don't like it. That's a different conversation. But I do like this back and forth. This is a good comeback.
And
shittier actors get more opportunities. It sounds like DEI.
No, it's
Oh
not.
my God. I'm finna go get, hold on, I'm thirsty because these couldn't go an hour without bringing up DEI. You just had to bring up DEI. This had absolutely nothing because the race, none of that came up. He just said somebody else has an opportunity. And it doesn't mean you get somebody that's not, man, let me get hold on, y'all. I'm thirsty. Hold on. My bad. I don't want to miss nothing, but I don't want y'all looking at nothing. What's something I could put on? I don't want to miss nothing, but I don't want y'all looking at nothing. I'm gonna show y'all. Oh, for those that haven't seen it, I'm gonna put on my I feel like a lot of people didn't see it. I'm gonna show y'all my Piers Morgan impression. I had a video where I did an impression on Piers Morgan. But I'm not a good voice. I can't do accents well. So do not judge my accent. I really tried, but you know what I'm saying? I'm working on my accent. I want to do another one of these because the people that did watch it, liked it. But you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to get the accent down. All right. It's only been about a month after Trump's amazing, never-before-seen, first-time ever presidential win of a 1.5% mandate, a sweeping mandate ever, and the Democrats are still licking their wounds like a sad, beaten puppy in a sewer. Today, I'll be talking to a random liberal where they'll discuss all their points and opinions that if they oppose Trump, I will not agree or listen to, even if they make all of the sense in the world. I don't understand how anybody could listen to another Democrat ever again, since they seem to lose everything. Donald Trump has gotten the White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the Supreme Court in his little orange hands. Today, I have this first ever guest, this random liberal. Thanks for coming on, Piers Morgan. Thank you for coming for your first time. How are you doing today? I'm good, Piers. I'm happy to be here for the first time. Great. Random liberal, Where do the Democrats go from here? I mean, Donald Trump is the greatest president ever to walk the face of the earth. He's been shot at. He's been attempted to be shot at. He's won the House. He's run Congress. He has the Supreme Court. Who knows? He may be president for a third time. You never know with Donald Trump. He's like the Terminator. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, he can't even sleep past 6 p.m. How can you support a president that has a bedtime earlier than an 8-year-old, random liberal? I mean, it's not that difficult when you have a president has done things like pass the PACT Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Chips and Science Act, cap Medicaid for $35 on,
Well,
cap
hang on,
insulin
hang
for
on,
$35.
hang on, hang on,
You know, he
hang
still
on,
had
hang
the
on,
infrastructure bill.
hang on,
Piers, I
hang on,
can't get out. Can I
hang
finish?
on.
Piers, Donald Trump is still the greatest president ever. I mean, let me ask you one question. I just don't understand. How can you support a man or any political party that lets men go into women's bathrooms? I mean, I just don't understand. Men are men, women are women. Women need their own spaces to use the bathroom privately, and men should not be allowed there. How could you stand for that? It's disgusting and unacceptable. Because, Piers, this is really a non-issue. Like, unless you want to have armed guards at all the bathrooms across America everywhere, this isn't an issue. Stop talking about sex. I actually can't believe you would even say that. And I think this is why. But you won't let me even finish what I'm saying. Men are men, women are women, and men should not be allowed under any circumstance to be in a women's restroom. And this is why you will continue to lose every election from here on out. But that's all we have the time for today. Thank you, Random Liberal, for coming on. Fuck Joe Biden, fuck Kamala Harris, and fuck the Democrats. Thank you and have a nice day. I want to do another one of those, but I got to get the accent down, man. My accent was fucking terrible. But I want to do another one because it was fun to do it. Okay. So back to the DEI.
Opportunity to make that money.
So shittier actors get more opportunities. It sounds like DEI.
No, it's not. Believe me, I've been out in LA. The best actors don't necessarily get every role. And so it gives an opportunity to spread the wealth. And that's exactly what
centralized subjective fairness on the altar of greed and jealousy. That's what it is. Because it's not fair that all of these people worked their ass off and did and achieved something.
I don't
we
look
have
like
to
Hotep
stop
Jesus.
them and go get someone else who maybe isn't working hard. Because it's so unfair.
Are you telling me that there aren't enough hard?
Why did he just say somebody that isn't working hard? Why would you get somebody that's not qualified
and achieve something? It's not fair that all of these people work their ass off and did.
No, he said they're voluntarily choosing to not make the income. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Achieve something, we have to stop them and go get
Nobody
someone
has to
else
stop
who
them.
maybe
You
isn't working
fucking
hard.
idiot.
It's so unfair.
Are you telling me that
they
there
got
aren't
something.
enough hardworking actors who get to...
No, stop
we only
changing
have
it.
the
That's your
exact-
shtick.
That's
That's
what
your
your
shtick,
shtick
dude.
is.
No,
But
it's
Sam,
not.
what you're
Why
saying
would
I'm
you
asking
say
you
that?
a question
Let
here
me stay
because
with your
it's about
example.
greed and jealousy, isn't it?
Let me tell
So
you.
the greed that you attack is the greed that you have. You're sitting there. These people must have been greedy. They got all this money and everything, and you're envious and you're greedy for their money. So we're going to take it from them. It should be 90%. They'll keep making. Oh, but that's good because now we've stopped them from
I
making
think it's
good
pretty
movies.
obvious to everybody how jealous I am of all of you.
No, it's not. Not
no,
everyone.
no,
Your
no.
point,
Yes,
your point
please go ahead.
about incentives. That
Yes.
is why Ronald Reagan brought in Arthur Laffer. And you
The
know
Laffer
the Laffer
curve. Yes, of course.
If
Explain
you,
it.
Laffer curve says that the higher you go up on taxes, the least incentive there is for people to make money.
Yeah.
Or to
And
try harder, or to earn more and work harder
Yeah.
and stay late and be an entrepreneur and try to build something.
Exactly.
Go on.
But the lower you have taxes, you can actually lower taxes and you'll get more revenue because these people are going to actually be more incentivized because they get to keep more. Arthur Laffer was the key advisor to Sam Brownback when he became governor of Kansas in 2012. You can look this up. People just have to Google Sam Brownback, Kansas, 2012. What happened with the great Kansas experiment? He did exactly what Arthur Laffer said. He slashed taxes for S corps, etc. Within, I think it was 2 or 3 years, the Republican legislature rose taxes because revenues had cratered so badly and they had so destroyed what was once the jewel of Kansas, their education system, their higher education system. They rose taxes.
Okay.
Well, there you go. I mean, there it is. Kansas provides compelling evidence of the failure of supply-side tax cuts,
Well, not
which is
every-
exactly what you're
Well,
advocating.
do you know
wait
how
a
many?
minute,
Do
wait
you know
a
how many
minute.
case examples I can show of cutting taxes helps states, helps companies,
Yes,
help people?
please show me one.
How do you think this company that
What?
we're sitting? Hold
Show
on,
me
Show me
Sam.
a state.
Sam, hold on.
Google the
You
state.
want to throw out some? How do you?
No, because why did you say you know how many I could show you and then wouldn't choose to? Why wouldn't you just prove him wrong right then and there? Prove him wrong right now. Why? And now he's trying to change the subject.
think this company
But
right
no,
here.
let him say that and respond to it. Okay. So, for example, where are we
What?
at right now? What state?
Florida.
Okay. Can you tell me why, out of all the 50 states in America in 2024 that voted for president, why did 50 for 50 state become more Republican? Can you tell me why, out of 50 states that voted for president in
Because y'all
2024,
fell for the
can you tell me
bullshit.
why the two states that lost the most people, the only two states in America that lost $1 trillion of money under management, that left their states to another state like Nevada, Texas, and Florida, can you tell me why those two states, imagine New York and California, during COVID, lost $1 trillion of wealth that left to other states? And even after all those people that left, the two states that became more Republican than they were before in 2020 were New York and Texas. Can you tell me why people come to Texas? Why do people go to Nevada? Why do people go to Florida? Why do you think it is? Is it because maybe they don't have state taxes? Why do you think Arthur Laffer's in Tennessee? Why do you think Musk is in Texas? Why do you think Rogan went to Texas? Why do you think California is losing so many jobs?
I think
you
there
it's
are
because of
definitely
high
people
taxes?
who like to evade
Yeah.
taxes. Sure.
It's
This
evade
doesn't-
taxes. So you see,
Whoa.
but,
He should've said
but no,
evade
but guys, let me,
taxes.
Sam, respectfully, I just figured
No,
out
he
who you
shouldn't
are.
have said evade taxes. He means avoid, not evade. But that was a misspeak, or maybe he just, I don't know, maybe you don't realize what he said.
I'm telling you, I just figured out who you are.
Yeah, it's cheaper. Exactly.
Deep down inside of you,
cheaper.
you are driven by so much power, control.
And right, that wasn't like you said, the ad populum is like that. That's not an argument. Just like, why are people moving to Republican states? Like, what the fuck?
feeling matching the qualities of a communist that wants to tell you what to do, and you
Mark, I
think
don't
you
know
know
if you've
what's best for
seen-
others, and if it isn't your
Every
your
time
way,
Sam wants to get deep in something, they don't want to do it. They run from it every single time.
everybody else is wrong. And by the way, an extremely unattractive
I'm
quality,
literally
but
just
very, very.
advocating for higher taxes
Yeah.
on super wealthy people.
No, you're not, because
Yes,
what
he
you,
is.
what you just
What do you
said.
mean? No, you're not.
What you just said. Let me just make the point here. You just said people who left California and New York, your first response was they're evading as if they have to pay you. That's not how this
pay
works.
me.
They're evading taxes. These guys are tax evaders. They left. No, it's called if a company offers better benefits. Are you on Rumble?
Wait, what? Wait, that's not. It's cheaper to live there. Like, I moved to places because it was cheaper. Like, I did so a lot of decisions I made when I was moving. When I moved to Georgia, it was cheaper. Like, what the fuck?
I think we stream on Rumble.
Where do you put your video clips the most? YouTube?
The
YouTube.
city I moved
Why you-
from here was cheaper, but we was making more and just wanted to be in a better area, and we was able to. So we moved. We pay a little bit more now, but we stayed because it was cheaper. Like, what the fuck?
That's just what the technology was when we started.
Why don't you do it on Vimeo?
We do run it through Vimeo.
Why don't you do all your stuff through Vimeo? Why do you do it on YouTube?
That's
you
where
hire
the
your-
most people are.
And that's where they pay the best.
Well, that's I mean, that's
Yeah.
where
Okay, and
the,
he's a business and he wants to make the most money, and people want to save money, so they also will move to where they can save money. Like, what the fuck is wrong with him?
we have the most audience. But if
Oh,
we had a
what,
bigger
you're
audience
evading!
like
You're
Twitch-
evading the revenue going to another company. You're such an evader
Well,
of
we're on all the-
sponsorship
What?
money going
This
to
is
another
such
company.
oh my God, he just tried to force this analogy, and it doesn't make. You're an evader. You don't want to go to the other companies. What?
keeps more money of it. You're such an evader.
Shame
Why
on
are you
you.
evading all this sponsorship money? You're such a sponsorship money evader. Sam Cedar's a sponsorship money evader. Everybody, come on, man. But
I'm
you-
a sponsorship.
If I don't have to, this is.
evader-
Yeah.
What is it?
What did you call it?
This-
No,
he
you
doesn't
call
make
people
any
leaving
sense. I'm a
California
sponsorship.
New York tax evaders.
There-
See, that's the
I think
part.
there's a lot of people who leave high tax states for low tax states.
Is that evading or is that just
Is
common
that-
sense
you
and
just
one of
called them-
See, that was the problem. They're harping on evading, and he just meant going to pay less taxes. That's what he meant.
tax
Okay,
evaders.
I mean, if you want to,
I think there's a lot of
if they're
people that do
going
that.
for
You
tax
think?
reasons, then they're
Sam,
trying to.
There's also a lot of
pay
people
less
that
tax.
go to lower cost
What is the
restaurants
word-
versus
what-
higher
what
cost
word would you
restaurants.
rather me
There's
use?
people that shop at H&M
opportunity.
versus shopping at Gucci.
better opportunity.
It's called saving
tax
money.
situations.
If I have to
How
be
about
under,
shoes?
Wait,
if I
y'all
have to
agree?
be
Y'all agree? Y'all agree? People make decisions to save money. Y'all agree? What the fuck?
under someone's watch, like a dictatorship quality like you that thinks you know what's best for others.
You think I'm
and
a dictator?
Financial dictator.
The way you
Financial
are,
dictator. I'll
give you
where
that.
you feel, your first answer was a tax evader. That's how you view them. You don't view them as a asset to the state. You see them as criminals. You just called.
Wait, okay, yeah. So they're harping on evader because I don't think he meant that. He needs to correct it. But this is. I'm trying to understand what else do he think people move to certain states for? Like, unless people move for business decisions. Like if a job is in another state and it's like, yeah, we'll move you out here. You could, begin to make more money at this place. Then yes, that's what's happening. But that doesn't change the fact that the blue states still produce the most money for this country and subsidize the red states pretty much on a large scale. So that doesn't change any of that. But when you don't have to operate in California, but you know that you don't have to live in California to operate whatever you want to do. A lot of people are working for themselves or working on their computers and shit. If I can save on taxes by moving to a state where I don't have to pay state tax at all or a lower tax rate, period, why wouldn't these people do it? And some people enjoy the weather too. Some people enjoy the weather in Texas and enjoy the weather in Florida. That's a big reason too. Like, it's not because this is Trump land. Like, what the fuck is wrong with them?
Entrepreneurs that leave New York and California as criminals. Is tax evader a criminal? Rob, can you pull up what a tax evader is? Type in tax evader synonym.
Yeah,
they're
harping on the
What
word.
are some
Sam
tax
should-
evader synonyms?
Sam needs to just
Can you go to
bite the
tax
bullet and
evader
say, I
synonyms
didn't
for
mean
also
to.
tax dodger, tax fraud,
illegal.
tax avoidance?
He
You're
shouldn't have said
calling
that.
these people criminals.
A person who tries to avoid paying
Wow.
taxes, often
You're
through illegal means.
calling
but
somebody
it's-
who leaves.
So me, I
No,
left.
paying
So
taxes
I
is
left
criminal.
Yeah, it's tax avoidance. That's what he meant. That's what he should have. Just bite the bullet.
California because
I'm sorry. I should have said tax avoiders.
Right. Okay. So tax
I apologize.
evaders. Right.
Okay, that's
Avoiders.
Yeah.
Right, it's called.
Are we
better-
good with tax avoiders?
It's called better opportunities.
Am I a better person if I
it's
say
called
tax
Sam,
better
you're
opportunities.
also a tax avoider.
Better opportunities.
Because if you have an S corp, you have what is called as write-offs.
oh, that's such an
And so you don't.
evader.
So
you
like when
write
you do,
anything off?
when
Why
you,
do you
write,
still
you do
say
write-offs.
evader?
Do I do business
I already know the
expenses?
answer. Of course you do.
you write off.
Such an
So you
evader,
write it
dude.
off.
You're such
Why
a
you
tax
avoided
evader.
taxes,
Such an
bro?
evader.
Still
Why
saying
would you
evader
do such-
after he corrected himself?
Think, Sam, you're a tax evader.
Tax. It's
Call
on
the
the
cops.
code.
Set it up as an
Shame on
S
this
corp
guy
just
for
to do
It's
that.
okay. Here-
writing
here's
off
got him
tax
on
Here's
it.
evasion.
something.
Call the
God.
feds.
Avoid
Here's
paying
something that
taxes.
I.
You probably have an accountant helping you.
He does. Sam, here's
No, I
something.
think he really meant people that's avoiding taxes, but he said evading. I think he probably just didn't know the term. I don't think he said that on purpose. I don't know. Maybe y'all both think he said it.
that I've learned.
To
It's
trigger
okay
them.
to say the following. You ready? Man, I might have been wrong on that one.
Wait,
I
just
just
gonna
admit
just
it.
conceded.
What the
In
fuck?
anything.
I should have
He
said
conceded.
I'm
tax
just saying in
avoider.
anything
He
because
said he
where growth
conceded.
happens is when
Tax
you be like,
avoider.
yeah, when you grow. I remember the most amount of money I ever made was in 2016. I was like, oh my god,
This is like a
I'm a
therapy
millionaire now.
session.
It's a tax therapy session. I was like, oh my god, I'm paying all this taxes. I don't like this.
it's-
And
you
I
know what
created an
fascinates
S-corp.
me about this is that, like, I'm talking about policies that impact the country. I'm talking about the implications of taxation on the top 0.5%, top 1% of this country.
Who pay
and it is
50%
boiled
of
down
taxes, Sam.
to you guys saying that I'm a
Can you do
bad
me a
person.
favor?
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
care.
no.
Listen,
Sam,
don't jump
I
to
I
don't
actually
care.
think you're a great person
I don't
with
care.
bad ideas.
I don't care about any of you as individuals.
You- same
I
boat
don't
as
care
us.
about me. Exactly.
Oh, you don't- I
I'm
don't
talking about
disrespect you, though.
policies. And when we get into policy, I notice how this all pivots, and I don't blame
Yeah.
you because,
You can't,
frankly,
'cause they
if
lose
you
on
tell
it.
the American public, and maybe not this audience, because this audience is built on your on your business, around your business doings and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you tell the American public that they're getting fleeced and they are losing political power to money, they react like they did in Wisconsin. They basically reject it. And so
think
that's
what
that is
what happened in November
the message
5th,
I'm carrying.
What happened on
I love how he's jumping back to November 5th after we're seeing what's happening, and Sam has a more recent example how shit just changed on a whim like that. And honestly, again, more informed voters, people that are more uninformed on politics and government, vote left. Y'all don't want to pull up that statistic, right? Let's look at the number. People that are the more uneducated, the more likely you to vote conservative or Republican, rather. So bring up those numbers, since y'all just like looking at numbers and being like, hey, look at this, what this mean.
November 5th.
Those people didn't come out. They came out to vote for Donald Trump because Donald
teacher.
Trump is a character that they like.
Why didn't they come out in 2020? Oh,
Wait, what?
Why didn't they come out? Because Donald Trump was very close to their experience, and I have a feeling in 2024 they'd also vote him out if he tries to run again.
Can you imagine?
Wait, what is these years they're saying? Why did he say 2020 and he's saying 2024? I'm so confused. Did they just what?
Was very close to their experience.
Oh,
Donald Trump is a character.
5th.
That is
what happened in November
the message
5th?
I'm carrying.
What happened on November 5th?
Those people didn't come out. They came out to
what
vote for Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a character that they like.
Why didn't they come out in 2020?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Why didn't they come out? Because
he just ruined the
Donald Trump
country.
was very close to their experience. And
Right,
I think
'cause he
I have
ruined
a
the
feeling
country.
in
Oh,
2024 they'd also vote him out if he tries to run again.
Can you imagine?
I guess he meant
like,
2028.
You had 4 years of a guy. His name is Donald Trump. Then this motivational speaker named Joe Biden shows up. Okay, and he fills up the arenas, and he wins. Every time he spoke, 200,000-300,000 people.
I'm
would show
sorry,
up.
they're giving way too much credit to the American people as voters. I think that most people vote uninformed. I think there's a large percentage of the base that votes is uninformed. So I don't really care about like the American people. They don't know shit. I don't know shit. I think I'm slightly above average of the average voter. I'm just like probably a little bit more informed than the next average person. But there's a lot of people that don't know the average person, and then a lot less. So I don't really, all this talking about why they didn't come out in 2020? Why did this mandate for Trump? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, now look what's happening. It's 4 months into his election, and they said, fuck that. We're not getting another Republican to have anything in Wisconsin. So come on now. That was a swing state, and it overwhelmingly said rejected Elon Musk and Trump.
To just hear this man give a speech, like one of those
No,
great
that's the thing.
orators.
Biden was a complete
Let me
just
make my point.
placeholder for
So,
not Donald Trump.
This guy gets up there.
And Biden was a placeholder, and I think he overperformed the people's expectations. I think that's fair to say. Nobody was like, yes, we love Biden. They just was like, fuck, we don't want Trump. And then that was, like he said, a placeholder. Nobody wanted Biden to run for 2 terms, so I put a big chunk of the blame of Kamala's run on Biden for just not being a 1-term president. Nobody was like in love with Joe Biden. So come on, bro. On their local schools, fuck them, expect them the idiots to know on a national scale. Exactly, bro. Like he's steady trying to use America's voting as some type of signal as to how much they reject the left when they believe lies. Even if they are following politics, a lot of them just believe lies because Trump is a character that they like to watch.
And
They just don't believe somebody could get up in front of the entire country and just lie to their faces with no fucks given.
crushes Trump. And you guys are like, oh, he got so destroyed. Crushes Trump. Look at the way Biden beat Trump. People don't want a person.
If y'all going by y'all's metrics, y'all be this mandate. Fucking Joe Biden did Trump way dirtier than Trump did Kamala. One of the smallest margins ever. So for y'all to act like this was such a great victory, there was a world where Kamala could have won. Like it wasn't unfathomable that Kamala, there was a world she could have won. They want to keep pretending like it didn't take a few 100,000 votes in 2 states to change the entire election. Come on now.
Like Trump, and then America watched all the policies that you support.
Right.
Biden comes president. He does what he does.
He does what he does. What? Yeah, he does what he does. What? Pass meaningful policy. Despite you liking it, he passed policy through Congress, meaningful policy, and quite a handful of policies that actually do something. Trump can't say the same.
4 years later, his vice president, his VP Kamala Harris,
Google
blame-
antitrust
They
and see how
blame
popular
the
it is.
inflation
VP
on the
runs for office.
administration.
Okay, runs for office.
Right. She had a 4-month campaign and lost by 1.4%. Meanwhile, Trump has been campaigning for 8 years. Like, what? Come on. Like, there's another thing. Like, 4-month campaign, and she was fighting the incumbency bias of blaming inflation on their administration, and she still only lost by 1.4%. Get the fuck out of here. And they want to keep saying majority of voters voted for him. No, he got 48%. He didn't get majority of the vote. Most people that voted still voted for somebody other than Trump. So imagine if these people were just a little bit more informed. What you think would have happened? Trump wouldn't have stood a chance.
Loses every battleground state. 89 count, 50 for.
What was the percentage of the votes he had from all voters? Not majority. Just because the fucking Electoral College is how it is, stop pretending as if that means everybody wanted Trump. For y'all to hate DEI, that's what the Electoral College is. Deal with it.
50 states become more Republican. And you're sitting here saying you guys think you got better policies?
No, I think Kamala
This is a
Harris.
policy conversation.
Kamala Harris is. I mean, I think. Look, I think it was what Biden did in staying in was atrocious.
Yes.
He should have gotten out way earlier.
That was
There's a
that was
story
the
coming out now
worst
of like
part
Ron
about it.
Klain seeing him before the debate and realizing the guy was a mess. And I think Harris's campaign was also poorly run. I think that nobody could tell what her policies were.
That's
Mark
your
Cuban's
quote,
going out there
PTJ.
saying we're going to get rid of. Right, I agree. Mark Cuban's coming out there saying like, "Oh, don't worry, she's not going to do any more of this antitrust stuff." On one hand, I don't want a billionaire coming out and speaking for my candidate.
Did you vote for her? Or did you sit that one out?
No, I voted for her.
You voted for Kamala. Why? Just because
Did
it's
I
not Trump?
vote?
Well, here's-
Very
no,
rational.
hold on.
I'll answer you.
What did you? I want to hold on. You voted. This is what drives me crazy about your side. You guys
I voted for the lesser of two evils.
That is what policy were you going for? What do you think that she was going to do different? What can you possibly?
Why are they pretending like she didn't have policies? Like, what is this? Why did you listen to anything she said, or you're just mad because she went against Trump? Why are these people acting like she did not have stated policy?
I would rather have you sit that one out, Sam. Go ahead.
I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
She was not going to cut Social Security functioning. She's not going to cut the USDA. She's not going to cut the FDA. She's not going to lose us $500 billion worth of return on investment with the IRS. She's not going to cut the Bureau of Labor.
Even if you don't like her policy, at least state it so he can't sit here and act like she didn't have any.
For statistics,
$500 billion
she's not going to cut 300
investment
return
theft,
on investment.
Theft,
Yeah,
tax avoid,
every
got
dollar
it.
that you give to the IRS
Yeah.
would get 6 or 7 back. She's not going to cut the museum
Did you
and
just
library.
say that?
Google it. Every dollar spent at the IRS gets 6 back in returns.
Goodness.
They're anticipating
To
the
who?
cuts from Doge. The cuts from Doge are going to cost our government $500 billion.
According to who? Rob?
Studies suggest.
All right,
According to
I
who?
undersold it a little bit.
According to who?
Okay,
According
well,
to
you can spend time attacking the people who do these
according to-
calculations.
not-
Studies suggest that every dollar the IRS spends on enforcement, audits, higher income tax rates will cover significantly more tax rate, with estimates ranging from $5 to $12. So he said he undersold it. He said 6, and it's 5 to 12.
Do you need me to tell you more
Yeah,
about
but
why?
what I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm just curious to
Just
what.
rando tariffs applied in a willy-nilly fashion
We-
that crash the economy.
So you don't think the tariffs that Trump is, and I get it. That's exactly, the tariffs are exactly what America needs right now, because let's just go to the border. What he did with the border with Mexico, with the tariffs, what happened to fentanyl? What happened to all the deaths? What happened to all those
they're
illegals?
pretending like fentanyl is just, I'm not saying it's not a problem, but I love how they're just like soaking up all of the bullshit that he gave them. Fentanyl. Bro, fentanyl is not like, they might as well just say they want a war on drugs the way they're acting about it. Y'all want another war on drugs? Because it's not that. Like, it's bad, but it's not this. It's not there's gangs taking over. It's not we need to shut down the border because of fentanyl, especially when it's Americans going to get it and coming back with it. Like, this is fucking, oh, my God.
What do you mean? He threatened them, and they went to war.
Fentanyl comes across the border at ports of entry. Fentanyl comes across the border, not in illegals crossing the desert. It comes in.
Oh, really? Coyotes
really?
and oh,
So
really?
wow.
Okay.
It comes in.
Yeah.
It comes in at ports of entry. Google that.
Sam, I don't need to Google when it's like
Yes, you
You
do.
said you voted for someone. You're coming up with
He's
these
finna
policies.
say a girl. He was finna say a
You said
girl.
you voted for
He
someone.
was finna
You're
say
coming up
you voted for a girl. Jesus Christ.
with these policies. The worst pick ever. The biggest loss ever. She lost everything because you're
No, she lost by 1.4%. No, it was not that big of a loss. It was not. It was not.
You're talking about
I don't even know
people.
what
Wait,
that
guys, let me ask you a question.
Exactly.
You're acting like your whole side was surprised that Biden wasn't there. Everybody knew, including you,
No.
he wasn't there at all.
everybody knew
But you
Biden
guys
was
are like,
getting
he's just
old.
not Trump. The worst.
It was a difference in getting old and like being, what's the word? You know, not delusional. Basically, like he was, like he had, like his brain was degrading. He's getting old, clearly, and he shouldn't be president because he's just too old and he's not moving. He's not sharp. But he's not out of his mind and unaware of what he's doing or if he knows his left from right. That's not what's happening. The man is just super old and just doesn't need to be president.
President in the history of the world in this country 4 years because you guys were pretending that he was all there and we knew it. And who was making all the decisions? Who was making all the decisions?
And then
who
he
was
keeps
signing?
talking about this speculative shit, bro. How about you talk about the tangibles? Let's say Biden didn't make the decisions. Let's say he didn't. Whoever was around him made some good decisions because he got some policy passed, even if it wasn't him. So, yeah, let's get them back in there, too, because they made policy happen. But people just attributed inflation to the incumbent party.
All this shit. Who was signing off? How many times did you have to see Biden sitting there and they'd ask him a question and he'd go, "Oh, I can't because they told me I couldn't." He was.
How many times you see somebody ask Trump a question and he doesn't even answer it at all? Or even understands what's being said to him, or that he thinks asylum means an insane asylum and people are coming from insane asylums to our country. How about that?
Wasn't in charge.
Who?
Yeah, who was they? Come on, Sam. It's like the most devastating
all
loss. The
speculative
world,
shit.
the country is over it. You guys aren't pivoting, okay? And if you think the future is Gavin Newsom, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and Jasmine Crockett, you guys are doomed. Nothing is going to change.
He
Elon
never says anything of meaning. He just yells about bullshit that, like, dementia. Thank you. Damn, that word was escaping me. He just keeps talking and just saying shit and being angry, but isn't saying anything of substance.
Musk, you think Elon Musk is a net positive or a net negative for society for what he's doing
Net
and
negative.
pointing out what the hell these people have been screwing
negative,
us
period.
for all these years, and he's pointing out. You guys are mad at the person pointing.
Elon Musk is hurting his own company, his own employee, his own legacy, his own family, and the American people. He's a net negative. No, I'll take that. To be fair, Tesla, SpaceX, cool shit, good shit. That is good. But lately, he's been putting his legacy down the drain. He's disowning his own kids. He's making a bunch of single mothers. He fucking got the American people upset. He's hurting and endangering employees at Tesla. I'm not saying that's his fault, but due to his behavior, people are boycotting his company, and putting people in harm's way. I mean, that could be a stretch, you could say it, but he's the idiot and he keeps lying on social media. So I don't know if that's all outweighs Tesla and SpaceX, but I know it plays a big role.
Pointing out who robbed from you than the actual robber. That's the truth, bro. Yeah, he's a billionaire. You think he's doing it because he needs the money?
What fraud has he found?
What do you mean? How much fraud has he found?
fraud?
Yeah, where's
Okay,
the
I'll just-
That's a
person
legal term.
who is going to be indicted for fraud?
Well, what about the waste?
That's the legal
What
term.
way?
Because it's not. Stop it, Sam.
What waste? They just
Sam.
cut
Sam,
they
what's our-
cut,
what's
they
our
cut
current-
the agency that provides $295 million to museums and libraries. You appreciate libraries, don't you? I know how much reading is
Sam, you're
important to you and
pinpointing
your
the
kids.
one good thing that they probably
Okay,
did.
no, wait, I
what
can
about
keep
the
going.
waste of countries all around
Wait,
the
did
world?
he just call that a good thing?
Pinpointing the one good thing that they probably
Okay, no,
did.
no, wait,
What
why'd you
about
say
the
that was
waste of
good?
countries all around the world
The
for
USAID
LGBTQ agendas in Rwanda or
the
something?
money you're talking about
you want money
is
going
a
to
fraction of a percentage. And if we wanted to get rid of that money, there is a way of doing it. And that is to have Congress vote
do it. Right.
and reverse.
If that's
what
the
they,
problem, just have Congress
authorized
do it.
in the first
That's
place.
it.
Sam.
But to have a billionaire come in and decide based upon what his personal preferences are
Right.
that he's going to cut government in this way.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's not democracy. It's
That's
not
not
even
how it
remotely
works.
close to
He
it.
doesn't have the power to do anything.
why
He
do you-
makes a suggestion.
Why do you think
and then the
Americans voted for
administration will
this?
do it?
Why do you
But
think
it's not
Americans
supposed to
voted
I
be
don't-
the administration. It's supposed to be Congress.
I think
policies.
Americans heard the word Doge outside of it being some type of crypto
Cryptocurrency.
before.
Why do you
That's
think
not
think
true.
Americans voted for Trump?
Because they
Why
didn't
they
know
go? Because
anything.
they want change.
In what?
What were they not happy with?
I think inflation was a big part of it for them.
What else you think?
I think for a 90%
Yeah.
of his voters voted for Mitt Romney. I think there is the Republican
Romney.
Party wants to have
Okay.
tax cuts.
How do we get inflation? How does inflation
Can we stay in
happen?
2024?
Hang on
You
one
said
second,
inflation.
Tom.
What
Tom,
else?
give me 1 second. How does inflation happen?
Inflation can happen in a couple of different ways. Inflation can happen because you have too much monetary supply.
Yeah.
Inflation can happen in terms of both from a monetary supply level or a fiscal stimulus.
Right.
And inflation can also happen if you have a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic that completely screws up all of your logistics. And so you've got, shipping containers that usually cost $4,000 to ship, but now they cost $22,000 to get because they're in far-flung places because the
That was in
pandemic screwed
2021.
up.
That was in 2021.
Well, it reverberates through the thing.
Wait,
We
stop
saw
acting
inflation-
like it's just gonna just cut off because he's not president no more. Get the fuck out of here. Don't act like it's Biden's fault.
dropping through
As if shit happens
2024.
overnight.
Sure.
We saw, we saw rate cuts on the table because we saw
Do you
inflation
think
dropping.
any of it was with, again, so those are the main two issues. You don't think anything else. So you mainly
Wait,
think
what?
it was inflation.
I think that was
and
the
your
biggest
second
one.
point was,
Well, I think in large part
It was
we
the
have
biggest
structural
one.
problems in this country,
And people
that's
don't
why we
understand
keep getting
civics.
change elections where we keep going back and forth.
what
I would
were-
say those structural problems range from. I think a lot of them have to do with wealth inequality.
okay. So you think Democrats are better at helping wealth inequality or Republicans?
I think Democrats are marginally better.
Tell me due to what policy?
Well, taxation helps. That's a big part.
Okay.
Strengthening labor. I think during Biden,
Through
I have a lot of problems with
jobs,
Biden, but
where
the
6% of the
labor-
workers work from home. Yeah. So how about
labor? I mean, strengthening labor
Right.
strength in the marketplace helps with wealth inequality. I think antitrust goes a long way to wealth inequality because it literally is to break up
So
the concentration
here's the
of
other
wealth.
question for you. So Trump's closed up the border, right? Where we are not getting like this. Numbers have dropped dramatically.
Well,
You
I mean,
see-
if you go back and look in the, and I don't necessarily agree with Biden doing this, but if you go back and look at the numbers starting in the summer of 2024,
Oh,
maybe a
that's-
little
he
bit before.
hadn't- Stop it.
I'm sorry. Go look,
Stop
just
it.
put it
Oh
up
my-
there.
Oh,
Put
when
it
he,
up.
when he started at
Put
the
a graph
end.
up.
but
But
this
listen,
is
I'm
the-
not in favor of him
this
doing
is the
this,
spin
but he did
job,
do
but-
it. Wait,
He
put
said
up
he's
the
not in
graph
favor, but he did
of,
it.
So you mean
but let
an
me just
election
make
year?
my
An
point.
election year,
Let
he
me
tried to
just-
slow down
Let
the
me
border.
just get through this,
Yeah,
and
he
then guys,
did it.
here's what I'd like to do.
I'm not in favor of it,
Here's
but he
I'd
did
like
it.
to do. I'd like to get through some stories, but I just want to close the knot here and move on because we're
Get
not going to make
a,
any
see if
progress
you can get a
here right now.
graph of that.
Rob, if you just want to show up graph on immigration from 2021, 22, 22, is that the chart you want to see? What do you want to see?
Let's see
make
the
you
one over the
see-
past. You
show up
said he's
how many
dropped
illegal
it
immigrants came
dramatically
here.
in January, and I'm suggesting
It
to you if you
has.
look at the past 12
No,
months.
no, it's the okay. Rob, do me a favor, find the chart on immediately when Trump comes in, what happens to illegal immigration in America. While you're doing that, here's a question for you. 10 million illegal immigrants came through the border in
No,
4
not the
years under
border.
Biden.
Way more.
You're saying it's more?
What's the number of undocumented immigrants you think we have in this country right now?
What I'm asking is those 4 years. How many do we have during those 4 years?
That came
That
across.
came through that we have, according to credible sources. What's the number you hear?
that are in the country now, or
that
actually
came
just
through
crossed?
illegally during those 4 years.
Oh, I would imagine it's probably close to like 5, 6, maybe to 10 million.
Let's say 10 million people.
Tom Homan said 10 million.
Let's say it's 10 million. Let's say it's 10 million, but give or take 2 million. Let's just say it's 10 million, the number, okay? Those 10 million people that are coming here, are they rich?
No. The vast majority of them, I would say,
Are
not.
poor, right? Okay, that they're coming here. Who does that benefit? They're going to need jobs, right? And what are they willing to work for?
Oh,
Pittance.
I think they're going to get exploited without a doubt if that's where you're going with this.
So let me get this straight. So who do they benefit? Do they benefit larger corporations that get cheap labor?
They benefit, yeah.
So let me get
meat
this straight.
processing plants.
Oh my
and
God!
whatnot. Oh, that's why I want
Sam.
them to have documents.
Sam.
Let them come to the border. Give them documents so that they can get worker protections.
So then, if that's the case, you know what that validates? Joe Biden and the Democratic policies are better for the billionaires than Trump's are, because they brought in cheap labor, and that cheap labor helps who? Helps the rich. When
I am in favor of a path to citizenship that is much easier.
And by the way,
yes.
those 10 million people that came here illegally, give or take.
And that was in that bill that they suggested in the fall of 2023 that Trump said he didn't want because he wanted to keep it as an issue.
Who do those 10 million people take jobs
ignore
away
all
from?
of it.
Who do they take jobs
nobody's
away
working
from?
those jobs.
I don't know that they take jobs.
Oh, really?
away
Nobody's
from
working
that.
those
really?
jobs.
Oh,
No,
really?
can we stop acting like there's this? People can't find work. That's just not happening. There's a labor shortage right now. There's no people can find work. Nobody. That wasn't an issue when nobody voted. Nobody was like, we can't find work. We need more jobs. That was not on anybody's list of things that they looking for while they was voting. Job scarcity is not a thing. So stop with this. Who is they taking them jobs from? Nobody.
In 20 years ago, we were told that the lowest unemployment that it was possible to have with a functioning economy was what? Do you remember? It was something
2%?
like 6 to 8%.
Yeah,
And
it's
now
not true.
our
It's
unemployment
4.
is at 4%. And so
And it was lower than that before.
I continue.
You're not answering the question, though. Who do those people take jobs away
Nobody.
from?
I have answered it. I think largely they don't take
They're
jobs
not
away.
taking
they
jobs
don't.
from
Well,
nobody.
okay.
If unemployment is lower than it should be, who is they taking jobs from? If I don't know, I thought the healthy number was 5 or something. But let's say their number is 7. If we're at 4%, the issue isn't people finding jobs. What the fuck?
I love what you just said. You think they don't take jobs away from anybody. Perfect. So if we go and we look at when China started trading, let me make the point. When China came through and was able to bring labor to us, 1971, it was called the ping pong agreement that they had where, you know, we can send labor there, and labor at the time was 8 cents to 20 cents an hour, where for us minimum wage was $1.60. Then in 2001, when the Clinton policies helped China join the World Trade Organization, and at the time, minimum wage in China was 20 cents to 50 cents, depending on different regions, and for us was $5.15. We lost 6 million manufacturing jobs, give or take the next 7 years. Michigan, you got Indiana, you got all these other places. Where did those jobs go to? Who did they replace? Who lost those jobs? What happened
All that
to Detroit?
manufacturing went to China.
That's right. So what do you think these 10 million people that come here, who are they going to take jobs away from? Americans who are here legally. Those jobs are going to go to somebody that's cheap labor.
That was the movement of capital. Capital decided that it was cheaper for them to move to
I'm specifically talking about the last 4 years. So when you're saying labor is not going to be taken from people in America, that's the credibility you lose. That's where people in 2000.
Well, who
Rob, can you play
fuck is out here trying to get jobs that people get paid pittance for? Who's trying to be cherry pickers and shit like that? No, there's nobody actively looking for that job. They could find a job that pays better with better conditions. Like, what is this? What are you talking about, bro? There's not an issue with people finding work. Stop.
the clip with Stephen A.
And on top of that, that's incumbent on the employer, not us. Like, if they want to gamble having labor that's illegal, that's on them.
Smith, who has been a staunch supporter of the Democratic Party for decades, and now Stephen A. Smith is being called as a member of MAGA. You know, Rob, we can't play the whole thing. Can you go to the main part? Do you know the main part or no?
I do. Right after he reads this is when he responds.
Okay, let's see what he says, Rob. Go for it.
This Owens, Sean Hannity, and other prominent voices from the right on this podcast as reasons for his premise. Here's a portion of what he wrote on MSNBC.com in an article titled ESPN Stephen A. Smith is a megaphone for MAGA propaganda. Jones says, quote, Stephen A. Smith's embrace of the MAGA movement and its influencers has only continued. In recent days, for example, he has spoken with right-wing commentators Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, and Bill O'Reilly. You might be thinking that these were adversarial chats between a left-leaning centrist and a conservative. But to adroit listeners, they can come across more as conservatives in friendly discussion than anything else. Smith's overt politicism seems to fly in the face of ESPN.
So they're gonna let a single person that wrote a op-ed or whatever this is, the one guy that's talking about Stephen A. Smith, they're gonna say the left is calling him MAGA. Cool.
ESPN's apparent effort in recent years to deter some of its talent from speaking on controversial political matters. Either way, the network's most recognizable host is now regularly platforming MAGA propaganda at will. End quote. Now, my team reached out to Jones to have a discussion about the article. I wanted to invite him on the show to talk with me one-on-one personally. I hope we get the opportunity to have that dialogue. He was busy. He didn't avoid the call or anything like that. There was no comment or anything like that. He didn't say anything. He was just very, very busy. I hope we called it the last minute. No shade on him. That's why it didn't happen. But in the meantime, let me express to you what I think about what he wrote. I think that's the exact problem with the left. You see, if I don't agree with you, I must be MAGA.
That's a person.
It must be the case. I'm platforming MAGA propaganda. Is that so? I don't view it that way. First of all, even though I lean left, particularly with how I
Stephen A. this lax before, for real.
Vote with presidential elections, I want to emphasize that I've always been a centrist my entire life. I've never once described myself as a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a centrist. I'm a moderate. I don't trust either side. I'm not on one side or the other, hook, line, or sinker. You will see images or you'll hear me rattle off names of people who've been on this show. Yes, you see Ben Shapiro there. Yes, you see Bill O'Reilly there. Yes, I was recently on Megyn Kelly's show. Did you know I'm on News Nation with Chris Cuomo every week? Did you know that I just appeared with Jake Tapper on CNN? Do you know I've been on MSNBC on several occasions?
Well, I'm not even trying to call him MAGA, but the difference of this is you just said you went on all these people's shows. You didn't bring them on yours. That's totally different. Because if you say you go on their platform and have an adversarial conversation, they really gonna say you MAGA. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but that's you just named people you brought on your show. You didn't bring any left-leaning people on your show. You didn't name them, at least right now.
Do you know?
You can pause.
Yes, Sean.
So, do you know what happens when a guy like Stephen A. Smith, he said he's always voted left when it comes down to presidential candidates that he has. So he's not a guy that voted for Trump, right? When a guy like him comes out and he says, what the hell is going on with the Democratic Party?
Is that what he's saying there?
Oh, he said it many. You must not follow what he
is.
says because he has said that nonstop the last 2 months, 3 months.
No, I don't follow what he says.
You should. He's actually very good. He's reasonable. It would be good for you to watch. I like his approach. I think he's a.
Do you guys identify as MAGA?
No.
None of you guys identify as MAGA?
Here's my question. Can I ask a question?
I've been
He seems to think it's an
independent.
insult.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. Make America great again. It shouldn't be if you want to make America great again, I'm all in. Call me MAGA all freaking day. Call it.
I'm MAGA.
I'm MAGA.
He just tried to skirt around wanting to identify as MAGA because, yes, they do look at it as an insult. And he just tried to, he's like, if you want to make America great, yeah, call me MAGA. Nigga, just say, yes, you're MAGA then. Just say it. Don't try to skate around it.
Want to make America great.
He seems to take it as an insult.
No,
That's
I
what
am
it struck
America
me.
first. I'm America first. I voted for Trump in 2016. I voted for him 2020. In 2022, when people were leaving to the DeSantis camp, I stayed on the Trump camp.
Yep.
I've never been
So you definitely
off that
MAGA.
camp.
So you're
He's
definitely
the right
MAGA.
guy for America, and I've been a registered independent now for about 17
What
years.
do you think about these tariffs?
No, stay on this topic here.
Oh.
We'll go
What
to
is the
tariffs
topic?
next.
That is some
We'll go
guy
to
from I've never heard of from
Stephen A.
just
Smith. I've
never
never
heard
heard
of.
of Stephen A.
Okay.
Smith.
No, the guy who wrote the
thank God.
something
If you
about
didn't hear
him.
Yeah,
Stephen
but
A.
what do you
Smith,
think
I
about
would have a
Stephen A?
meltdown
You know
right
what
now.
he's been talking about lately with the Democratic Party
He's a
having issues.
centrist. I don't have to subscribe to what a centrist perspective. I mean, he's a centrist like Gavin Newsom is a centrist.
Gavin Newsom
Newsom
is
is
a
a
centrist.
Gavin Newsom is saying the exact same thing as Stephen A. Smith.
How? Because he
On
realizes
now.
progressive policies have been a disaster.
Okay, I
Maybe
mean,
it's
so
because-
He's a centrist
they
as of
can
a
all
week
have
ago when
each
he
other
realized
as far as I'm
progressiveness is
concerned.
horrible.
Maybe it's
Come on,
because
Sam.
maybe it's like
I
a
just you don't understand. You guys
Welcome
don't seem to
to
understand.
Bizarro World.
I have a set of politics. I don't care what Stephen A. Smith does. I don't care what Gavin Newsom does.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah,
So
they
you're
want him to
rigid.
have
You're
an
not
opinion
changing
on this.
anything.
It's not a question of I'm rigid and I'm not changing anything. Like there are specifics. Like over time, I have had a different perspective on the deficit over the past 20 years and understood it in
But
a
you
different
become
way.
more liberal over the last 20 years. You become more of a leftist and progressive.
You
the
got to
last
be more
20 years.
I would
malleable.
say
You got to be
that
more
a certain
malleable,
extent,
buddy.
I mean, to the
Wait,
extent,
are
like I
y'all-
don't, like you guys have these like labels that you like to use, and there's some
Like
type of
tax avoider,
gradation.
yeah.
But
Labels.
I've
We
always
like
been
labels like
I've
tax
always been
avoiders.
about where I am in terms of taxation. But I am for a little bit more decommodification probably than I was 20 years
so
ago.
and all I'm saying here before we go, look, I'm going to go to the audience. Audience, we're coming to you here in a second to go through some of the stories here.
Why, wait, we're gonna talk about tariffs?
We're going to
We're
talk
definitely
about
gonna.
whatever stories we go through. But the one thing we did learn here with you is America grew up the last 4 years.
Adam?
Sorry about that.
America grew up the last 4 years. Many Democrats grew up. Every state became more Republican because of the horrible policies on the left. Whether
PTJ,
it was how they
I
handled
have to
COVID.
agree because it is because he's black. It's like, look, let's get Sam to disagree with this black man on the left. And I've never, just since I've been watching him talk about politics, I've never associated him as a Democrat or like fully on the left or as a liberal, like, or definitely not a progressive. So
What they did with our kids, how they handled people that didn't want to take the vaccine, and people were fed up. And they voted for a guy who had already been president for 4 years. So it's not like they said they want something new. They said, no, we want to go back to the guy previous to that guy. That is the biggest black eye to Obama, to Kamala, to Democrats, to everybody on the left when they went back to the guy that they said they didn't want 4 years later, saying, it's like an ex coming back and saying, babe, I messed up. I should have never gone with the other guy.
Yeah,
you were
and
my
just
guy.
like them idiots
Or
that
guy,
take 'em back.
Babe, I screwed up. I should have never
Look
left you for
stupid
the other
now.
girl. I'm such a dummy. Please, Trump, come back. That's what America did. And a guy like you who's
I'm
sitting
not a
here
big
seeing,
fan of Obama's, and I'm not a big fan of Harris's either.
But the point is you still haven't graduated Sanders. That's like 7th grade. The people that follow Sanders and AOC are in 7th grade, 8th
wait, couldn't that be argued with Trump too? Well, no, because I guess Trump won, so I guess not.
grade. Their heroes are in high school. Your philosophies are popular in high schools, not with adults. The policies that you support are
They were
high
not
school
popular
policies.
when I was in high school.
Oh, are you kidding me? Karl Marx was a hero in kids that went to high school because
Sam taking it literal. Or is PBD talking to literally high school, or is he talking about just like over time? I think that's a metaphor for time going, and Sam taking it literal.
teachers were feeding the Karl Marx stuff.
Well, I went to high school. Ronald Reagan was president. I can assure you that, and the wall still existed, and there was.
It is
fear.
kind of odd, like. It is kind of odd. It just seems like it's really embedded in a lot of racism, like a lot of this shit.
Of communism, and that socialism
Yeah.
was barely ever expressed.
I mean,
in
you're a
my
step
high
away
school.
from communism. Like socialism is a step away from communism. That's kind of where you are. You're right there saying, guys, I don't want to fully publicly say I'm a communist. I'll stay in this room.
No, I'm not.
Y'all didn't want to say y'all was MAGA, which is associated with being a fascist. So shut the fuck up.
I'm
Just
not,
like
I'm not
MAGA.
even. I
I
don't
don't
even
wanna say- I don't
identify
wanna
as a
go-
socialist either.
You're
there
a
are some things-
progressive, though.
I would say I'm a progressive. I
So
mean,
what's
90% is
right
socialist.
of progressive? What's left
Yeah.
of progressive? I know you're not big on labels, but just Humor me. What's
I
right
mean,
and
I
left
think,
of
you know,
being a
I'm
progressive?
probably
Leftist, right?
a social democrat. So I would say there is a certain amount of society where I believe we do not need the private market to deliver it and is less efficient. So when it comes to health insurance, we have already in this country 1/3, maybe a little more actually, on some form of government health insurance. The VA is actually government health care. The doctors work for the government. And that is actually gets very, very high
And
marks.
all I hear is good things about the VA.
The VA
everybody
gets
loves the
high
VA.
marks?
No,
The
no,
healthcare does, yeah.
VA Vinny,
time
you
out,
go to the
time
VA.
out.
From who?
That's a 100% false.
From
I
the
get
dead guys.
the worst service from the VA. And I'm a veteran and he's a veteran. He doesn't go to the VA. I go to the VA.
Oh,
I called yesterday just to make an example in our work area. I called. Nobody's picking up the phone for me to get an appointment. Zero. And when you go there, it's the most depressing thing.
But the
So
good
trust
news
me.
is when you go to like get your to the DMV, the driver's license, that's great service,
Oh, that's
right?
that's the best. Yeah, that's the best.
Everyone's
No, the
sad.
VA. Sam, the VA is
the
not good.
states run the DMVs,
really
but
like it
my
for this
experience at the
podcast.
DMV is not that bad.
You wanna
But
go to
Respectfully,
what's
there's
that?
one
I'm
thing
gonna go
you
to
said.
tariffs.
There's one thing you
What's
said.
I'm
You
gonna go
said
to
the
tariffs.
private market is less efficient. We can look at 250 years of government and everything we've got here. I just can't get
What's the
past that. And if
administrative
that's
cost for
And
Medicare?
if that's your,
What's the administrative cost for Medicare?
Hang on. If that's your one of your foundational beliefs that the private markets will be less efficient, then it's no wonder you're where you are. I'm not going to pick on it. If that's your foundational
What
belief,
is the
then
administrative cost for Medicare?
Tell us.
He don't know.
2 to 3 cents of every dollar in Medicare is spent on administrative costs. In the private health
administrative
insurance,
defined as what? You got to be careful. I got to be careful when I hear things like that because guess what? You go back and you look at, well, I was only counting this.
The rest
I'm
of
not counting this. It's like the same way.
you have a dollar.
Same way your side would count
98
unemployment
to
and come out
90
later and readjust all the
97
stats.
97 to 98 cents actually goes to paying Medicare providers, doctors, we're
going to move on. We're going to move on because your core
private health
tenet,
answer the
insurance,
question,
your core
Tom.
tenet that the private
in private
markets
health
are
insurance,
less efficient
it
is
is
wrong.
17
And if that's your
cents on every
foundation,
dollar.
we can't discuss
because they're
anything.
paying for advertising, they're paying for shareholder value, et cetera, et cetera. So for every dollar you spend, and on top of which, anybody who has private health insurance who deals with it themselves knows it's like having a second job, just to either get reimbursed or you get to figure out every year when you re-sign up, is my doctor in or out of the program? It's a mess. It's a disaster.
Medicare
it is the most
so
inefficient
good and
possible.
so wonderful.
People
Why was
love Medicare.
MedSup and Medicare Advantage invented? It's so good, Medicare.
Because
It's
the
everything
Republicans
for you.
wanted to privatize it, and
Oh,
it is
really? I don't
widely
get drug
understood
benefits.
That
Okay.
Medicare Advantage is the worst part of Medicare, and people get sucked into it, and they find out that they've been hoodwinked. I mean, these are all easily found data points.
Sam, did you fly here?
Yeah.
Did you go through TSA? Did you go through TSA pre-check? Did you go through Clear? What'd you go through?
On the way here, my TSA pre-check was not on the thing, so I just went
It's
through.
messed up. You paid for it though, right?
Yeah, it was $60 for the TSA.
No, I'm saying, but you pay, I think, it was like a $500 or $100 for 5 years for a TSA pre-check.
TSA pre-check, I think, is $65 for 5 years.
That's amazing. It's a great deal. Why don't you do Clear?
Rasta, who you talking about? The Vinny, the angry one?
I don't want to do a private company.
TSA pre-check is basically like a public-private partnership.
No,
where
TSA
you pay a little bit more.
pre-check is TSA
But this-
pre-check
you
is
pay
the
it-
government.
You pay a
I'm
little
not
bit
gonna give-
more.
Adam,
I'm not going to
you
give
have
my
to know
biometrics
he
to Clear.
looks at private companies and he frowns upon private companies.
that what's
and
going
private
on? 'Cause
enterprise. That's all it is.
Oh, I didn't fully
He
understand.
said,
Okay.
"I'm not going to give my money to a private company."
And
so just so you know,
meanwhile,
and that's
No,
just
I
you
wanna-
own
that-
and
that
run
is
one.
Yeah. So let's go to the next story with
But
terrorists.
can we stay there for a second, please? You don't want to give money to a private company, but you are a private
you
Well,
talking
I
about
don't want to
guy with
give
the
my
gray- with the gray
biometric
beard.
information to a private company.
You're using a
or your dollars.
What about just
Yeah, I
private
don't like-
companies
I'm
in general?
happily fine with TSA
Guys,
pre-check.
we already got
With
it.
TSA
I'm moving.
let's
Adam,
move on.
Okay, I'm learning.
I'm moving on.
I'm
No, I
learning.
already learned. I understand.
gotcha,
It's
gotcha.
great. So we know what the argument is.
Progressive.
Shit, I don't.
Trump set to unleash Liberation Day tariffs.
Yeah, okay,
President
yeah,
Trump
yeah.
will
Something-
unveil
yeah.
Liberation Day tariffs on Wednesday at 4
Yeah.
p.m.
That was yesterday.
So
was
one of those
yesterday.
is getting colored for
in the
sure.
White House's Rose Garden, promising to stop America being ripped off and deliver a new golden age of U.S. industry. Though U.S. White House Press Secretary Karen Lehman said that he was still perfecting it to make sure it's a perfect deal with advisors less than 24 hours before. Trump, who on Monday claimed he'd be very kind, has kept details vague with reports suggesting options from reciprocal tariffs to a 20% blanket rate or preferential treatment for some nations. Rob, if you want to play this, is this yesterday, Rob, or is this?
This is yesterday from the Rose Garden. This is
Okay,
the
fantastic.
president.
Go for it.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long
These niggas really finna defend these fucking terrorists
Yeah,
that's
the
crashing the
April
economy.
liberated from your money.
2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was
Yeah, I'm usually
reclaimed,
never in a rush,
and the
right?
day
Because
that
I
we
haven't been
began
in a
to
rush to the
make
airport. I don't play
America
that.
wealthy
I just do
again.
what I gotta do. I know shit can happen, but I
Make it
don't
wealthy,
use
wealthy.
pre-check either.
I also have another
But,
clip. This
you
is
know.
the president discussing
It's
how
there.
the tariffs will help eliminate income tax. Possibly.
From 1789 to
Sam, like, y'all believe this
1913,
shit?
we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission
And the
to
problem
decide
is there's situations for tariffs. This just isn't it. This is not it. It's not one of them at all.
what they were
in
going
the way
to
he's
do with the
implementing.
vast
There's
sums
a way
of money they were
tariffs could work,
collecting. We were
but
collecting
this ain't
so
it.
much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't
Gotta
that
be
a
targeted.
nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem?
With a plan behind
Marco would love that
They
problem.
keep saying, they still saying,
But,
this is
we don't
a
have
negotiation
that
tactic.
problem
Yeah,
anymore, but
negotiating
we're not
at
gonna
our
have it very much longer,
expense.
I will tell you. But they
Yeah.
collected so much money.
Favorite word.
They actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons
I hear you,
unknown
PTJ.
to mankind,
Yeah, I don't fly
they
often.
established the income tax.
I'm lucky if
so
I fly
that
once a
citizens,
year.
rather than
That-
foreign
that
countries,
once
would
a year
start
is
paying the
not
money
even common for
necessary
me to
to
fly
run our
somewhere.
government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him. And every time you walk up, you think of him. And he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from.
No, see, and watch, you just hit the nail on the head. Because it's just like, he keeps talking about this deficit as if we're getting screwed over when A, we have the fucking most powerful dollar that he's trying to tank, which I give credit to PTJ that they trying to make the dollar useless and then go into crypto, and we're really screwed. And so they're acting like we're the ones that's getting gotten over when we're the world superpower. Meanwhile, he's expecting third world countries to just buy everything from us and tank their own economy while they're trying to not be third world countries and developing nations. He wants them to behave in the same manner as us. That's like being fucking the Hulk and expecting somebody that's trying to be a regular bodybuilder to be able to withstand what you can as the Hulk. Like, this makes no fucking sense at all. We're like superhuman, looking at people trying to gain the same status as us, telling them to behave in the same. Everything got to be equal between us. You not equal with your little brother, bro. You don't get treated like your little brother. If I'm 28 years old and I got a brother that's 12, why the fuck am I expecting us to behave in this, have the same behavior, treat each other exactly the same, and expect our parents to treat us the same? Like, this shit doesn't make any fucking sense.
From us, we're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country.
Can't
it's
handle
not even believable. But we're getting
buying
smart.
stuff from the U.S.
Tom,
in
your thoughts on
mass.
this, and I'm gonna come to you.
So Markets love continuity, even if continuity is rooted in trade inequality and things have been going on for decades.
Yep.
And to get through the shift, to get through the food poisoning, we can see markets react to sentiment, and markets don't know what to make of this. How many tariffs are going to stay for a day versus a week versus a month? You don't know. How many tariffs are going to shift? Israel actually backed down and said, okay, we're done. Yesterday, correct? Israel went, hang on, we're good. We're backing off. We're done here. Interesting.
Facts, bro.
Canada moved a couple of them, not the rest of them. Canada's still figuring it out, but they're blinking. Canada is blinking. So now the question is going to be, how long does all this take? And the markets, the markets don't like it. The markets don't like.
He just treats the word deficit as an automatic negative in any context, I guess.
Of uncertainty, and that's why you have Jim Cramer and other people. Oh, we're getting killed out here. You're getting killed because you like the status quo that you had a minute ago, because you knew how to play that game and you knew how those markets worked. And respectfully, they're there to trade and make money in an increasing market. What is easier? It's easier to stay yesterday with what we've got, or there's a greater goal. And the greater goal is American jobs and the jobs report.
What job? We don't need jobs.
It was better than people thought. Huh, interesting. That's not a headline. Why is that buried? And you've got the uncertainty of the markets. Now, the uncertainty.
And if we did have them jobs, how much you think they can afford to pay the people to make it worth it, to where we're not getting screwed over as consumers and have to pay even more for shit because they got to be able to pay these people a livable wage? They can't. If they did create these jobs and brought manufacturing back, y'all gonna be paying them $7.25 an hour, the national minimum, which I don't know if anybody in this country is paying. Actually, I don't know if anybody is actually paying the national the federal minimum. Who the fuck is finna work these jobs? And how much are y'all gonna pay? You cannot pay them enough to make it worth it to do it in America. They just had, you just missed it. They just talked about how a healthy economy has about 6 to 8% unemployment. We have fucking 4. People need people to work jobs. Y'all want to kick everybody out of the country. Y'all don't want any y'all say y'all want legal immigration. Y'all don't want nobody here. Y'all don't want anybody that don't look white to come in this country. And I'm tired of them lying about it. If they don't look white, y'all don't want them to come to this country. And then you're saying, let's create jobs. Who the fuck finna work these jobs? Nobody has any. People are having kids less because niggas is out here making the bare minimum. I ain't gonna say making the bare minimum, but because of the crunch of automation of everything, y'all got these companies gonna try to maximize they profits and want to fucking even if you didn't bring these jobs back over time, they'll have to automate them. So stop with this bullshit. Y'all trying to act like you want America to grow, but you want to keep people out of the country, and then you talking about you want to cut waste, and you're literally taking the jobs people had away from them. Like, none of this makes sense. They want to create jobs, but yet you come in firing people from their jobs. And this shit is real, y'all. My wife's friend is sitting here wondering if she's going to have her job the next day. Like, this shit is real.
Markets makes everybody look at their 401k and look at the things and be concerned. And yes, there's concern there, but you got to look down the street and see where we're going. And it is not easy to get through the
We're going into a wall.
But there is life on the other side, and you can see that's what the president...
Can't this logic be applied to anything? Like, just cut your arm off, just look into the future. Like, well, it looks like most people have their arms and we need them. I'd rather have it than not. Is it necessary? Is it really necessary to cut my arm off? No, you just withstand the pain for a little bit, and you just keep looking down and your arm will grow back. Well, we don't have any evidence that arms grow back when you cut them off. So are you sure? Who needs evidence? Trump says it. Just cut it off and you just look down the street and your arm will grow back. Can we research this first? No, we cannot. It'll be okay.
It's talking about. And I think we got to trust it, and we got to look at what's going on. We can already see.
Why didn't y'all trust Kamala's plan? $250,000. Oh, that'll never work. Everybody else will just make their houses cost $20,000 credit. Everybody's gonna make their houses cost more. Oh, what else was her policy? The child tax credit. Well, then everything else is gonna go up because they know that people have more money. let's put tariffs on everybody for no reason. Oh, yeah, that'll work. Then we'll bring back thousands of jobs that we don't have the people to work to America. Give me a fucking break.
Little islands of change going on. So let's find out how everybody else moves on these tariffs.
Sam. You said tariff was the last word. That was the only time you used the word tariffs. Look, I am in favor of tariffs when it is part of a specific agenda to build a certain industry or a certain industry within a certain region. This is absolute insanity. First off, they're going to use this as potential revenue. Like he says, it's not going to replace the income tax, but what they're going to do is they're going to use it as an excuse to cut taxes on wealthy people. You guys will be very excited about that. But who's going to pay that tax? If it's $600 billion a year, as they're saying, over a 10-year period, it's going to be $6 trillion. That is going to be an average of $5,000 tax on Americans. It is a regressive tax. I like taxation, but I like progressive taxation because $5,000 for somebody making $40,000 is a much bigger problem than $5,000 for me or for you. And so this is a regressive tax on Americans. Now, if it's to work to build up industry, and I don't know how we're going to have a banana industry in this country or how we're going to have a lumber industry to rival Canada's because we just don't have the wood and so on. I mean, people get the idea. You know, there's certain industries
They're going to make up some. They're going to figure it out some way.
We're going to build up.
The gymnastics.
Maybe there'll
in.
be a low cost clothing business that revives in this country, but I doubt it. But if tariffs are meant to work to build up industry, that means people aren't paying those taxes. So the tariffs may not raise the money, but what will happen is, and I think you understand this too about pricing, if the price of goods goes up on average, and it looks like in some of these places, it's going to go way above 10%. I mean, some of Vietnam, like 39%, China, 75%. They're adding all of these tariffs on. It's insane. Then U.S. companies, to the extent that there are ones that are making these same goods, they have between 0 and 75% to raise their prices. And they will because, the price of this, there's a certain elasticity, and they can justify raising their prices 5% if their nearest competitor is, 25% raise in price. They'll do it. Because, there's some products that people just can't do without. So this is such a disaster. And of course, what it also does is last time we had a major financial crisis in this country in 2008, it took 6 years for the stock market to get back at parity. You're talking about 401ks have been a disaster insofar as people just don't put as much money in them as they should because they don't have the money on a regular basis. But God help those people if there wasn't Social Security, a robust Social Security, because if you've got to retire and you're 65 and you were planning on retiring, you have a small 401k, it is screwed. And it may not come back for years. Maybe it'll come back tomorrow. But
how do you feel about reciprocal tariffs?
Just fuck all of the explanation for why tariffs is bad. Now it's like the reciprocal. Now he doesn't have to address anything. I hope Sam make him address that.
Here's the other absolute insanity. Those tariffs that he claimed on that chart are not tariffs. Every economist out there has been saying, where did he get these numbers? And they're starting to figure out that they did some weird. There's countries on there that don't even have people in them. It's bizarre. They took the CIA fact book and just made a list of countries. I mean, it's completely for show.
Which countries?
Google it. There's 1 or 2 places where there's no people.
Every single one of those countries.
No. They released a big release. He'll find it. And these are not actual tariffs that are being applied to us.
Every single one of these countries.
There is India. Are we sure there's people there?
China, the EU, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan,
Do it
India, South Korea,
Google.
Thailand, Switzerland, Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Which of those countries aren't there not people living?
put in the Trump just added a tariff on a country with no people.
All right, but
I mean,
so he added one country that maybe
it's
is
just an
underwater.
indication of how slapdash this is.
No, dude.
But these are not
You're
tariffs.
You're
These are not
focusing on one
those,
random little.
those reciprocal tariffs. They're not. Those aren't tariffs. He is combined.
Oh, that's where the penguin meme came from. They said he put a tariff on a plate. I didn't understand it, so now I get it. Antarctica, yeah. So maybe that's what one of them was, bro. Yes, because I seen a penguin meme. I'm like, what's happening? So if he put a tariff on Antarctica, yes, like this just shows the laziness. And so Sam isn't lying. Again, whenever there's some truth that makes MAGA look stupid, they're just so unaware of it and have no idea what's going on and oblivious. And Sam is like, no, it's some countries with no people. Yeah, a tiny Australian outpost. Norfolk, like, yeah, some places is just tourism. Like, yeah. So, oh my God.
He is basically what they've tried to figure out is like, where'd they get these numbers from?
To be fair, Watts, this is my problem with Sam. He does get overwhelmed. He stumbles over his words. He misspeaks sometimes. He talks slow. But he's getting jumped, too. They keep talking over him. Every time he says something they don't like, they jump all over him. He has to address everything everybody's saying.
And they have taken the trade deficit and divided it by what we send there. And that's the way that they've assumed that that's a tariff. It's basically they're just saying we have these trade deficits. And of course we have trade deficits with certain places because there's some products that we're just never going to make. And there's some places that don't have the buying power that we have. Mm-hmm. I mean, so this is just bizarre. And even like former Trump trade people were just like, well, maybe it's just an opening salvo for a negotiation. And maybe it is. I mean, like I'm just fortunate that I'm not planning on retiring soon and my 401k isn't decimated. But this is going to cause inflation and these prices are not going to come down. I mean, Trump is trying to tell U.S. automakers, don't raise your prices. And if he wants to impose price controls, he would not be the first Republican president to do this.
Yeah,
Nixon
I
was
wish
the
he
first,
I wish he made them respond,
and the only
bro.
president,
I wish
as far as
they
I know, to do
addressed
price
it.
controls.
He
at least
just jumped to reciprocal tariffs and just avoided this.
Modern era. I'm not necessarily against price controls in certain situations, but this is like such an own goal. It's fascinating.
Well, of course.
No, Jimmy Carter's waging price controls for decades before Nixon. Whoops. Checking my notes. No, leave this after.
Right.
It wasn't just Nixon.
Well, Nixon
Wait, he
started.
didn't say just, didn't he?
Right.
Oh, wait,
Whoops.
First of all, he's so fucking lame just looking for some type of reason to like get a dunk.
Own goal. It's fascinating.
Well, of course.
No, Jimmy Carter's waging price controls for decades before Nixon. Whoops. Checking my notes. No, leave this after.
Right.
It wasn't just Nixon.
Well, Nixon started
Carter.
it, right?
And there was no other president since
Nixon started it.
I was just kind of correcting that.
Okay.
Back to your rant.
I'm for price controls.
You are for price controls.
Well, I think we should have applied some in the wake of COVID. Yes, there was a lot of gouging going on. I think everybody knows that.
Adam.
I think it's.
I mean, there's plenty of data that at least 40% of the inflation was a function of gouging in some form or another.
Well, Sam, number one, respect for you for being here. I don't think, like, genuinely, whether you're a progressive or democratic socialist or skew socialist, you're talking to a bunch of capitalists and an angry patriot. That's cool. Like, we're not going to change your mind. You're probably not going to change our mind. But what we're solving for is the truth. The reality is these reciprocal tariffs, what Pat asked you about. Are you familiar with the golden rule?
And they so fucking.
You want to others as you want to.
They
do
don't
unto
even
them.
understand that this reciprocal shit is just some bullshit.
I mean, in my personal relationships, yes.
There you go. So the golden rule is you want to do something to me, I'm going to do it to you. If you treat me fairly, I'll treat you fairly. If you're good with me, I'll be good with you. But
what
if you want to,
constitutes fair?
Hold on, guy. If you want to actually take advantage of me.
Fair, like again, I just like my example about a 28-year-old when his brother is 12. Like fair isn't he goes to bed at 8 and I have to go to bed at 8. Well, 28 is too much. 17 and like 7. My 7-year-old brother goes to bed at 8 o'clock. That don't mean I have to go to bed at 8. That's how they're looking at fairness. Fairness is giving a leg up to developing countries where we're helping each other out the ways we can. It ain't you tariff us, we tariff you. We don't have to behave in the way they do. We're not a developing country. We're the world's superpower.
Then all of a sudden we might have to have a economic war. And that's what's happening.
And that too, for them to act like Trump is so strong and all this shit, this is he acts like a victim. Everybody's getting over on us. Nobody is fucking getting over on us.
If you show up that list, I know you want to focus on the one random country that you can't name. Hold on.
Tell us how England is taking advantage of us.
Well, England is part of the UK. We understand that. But if you want to go
how
numbers,
is the UK
Sam,
taking advantage
hold on. You know, when people talk, you listen, and then when you talk, I listen. That's how conversations go. You know that.
I'm just asking you to clarify your statement.
I'm going to get there. So the way that these tariffs work is if they're doing something to us, we'll do something to them. Rob, show the picture.
No, it's just this is
I would love
such
to
a
hear what you
fucking
think.
idiotic way
all
to
these
look
countries
at,
have people living
at trade.
All these countries, these China, the
It's
EU,
just so
that's part of
brain dead.
all those countries over there. You get the UK over there, Vietnam.
Like, if we don't need nothing from them, but they need stuff from us, and vice versa, yes, there's going to be a deficit. Why do you think everything has to be split evenly? And again, y'all just look at something Trump presents you, and it's like, yeah, that's true.
Taiwan, Japan, India. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people living in India.
He didn't have
South
to do
Korea,
all that.
Thailand, all these countries are charging us.
You're charging
So
us.
the
We get to
reality
charge
is, if you
you.
go through
Like,
the
bro,
numbers, not feelings,
there's
the whole
shit like
list.
that.
Sam, I need you to pay attention. I know you're on the
you
phone
are
doing some
charging us.
data.
I got it.
Here we
Sam,
go
there's
now.
the whole list.
They're
Again,
charging us.
Let's just look at numbers because that's all that matters. And Trump presented it, so it's a fact. This is what they're doing again.
way more
Again.
90% of Vietnam.
to access their markets than we
They
are
don't
charging.
understand
That
any of this
is
shit.
not. That's the whole
Sam,
point.
stop
Those
it.
are not tariffs.
Stop it. You're gonna have to bring.
Rob, do me a favor.
So
Pull this
we're
chart
charging
up.
on average 2.5%. The EU is charging on average 20%. Japan is 24%. China
know Sam gonna
34%.
smoke them on
Taiwan
this. Sam gonna
32%.
smoke them on
Vietnam
this.
46%. These is
Because
what
they don't even understand that, like, a lot of these tariffs be like surplus tariffs that kick in after you import a certain amount of something, which nobody ever pays. And then on top of that, again, you're not considering that, like, if we get less from them, then it's going to be a deficit, and it's simply because we don't need the product, or we get more, or we spend more with them because we don't produce what they have. He keeps saying we have our own lumber, we do our own this, we do our own that. No, we don't. We can't. We're not going to have an avocado industry. We're not going to have a banana industry. We're not going to have a lumber industry. We don't need a car manufacturing industry either. Like as far as like everything got to be made here, like this shit is fucking ridiculous, bro.
the numbers are. Now, if
We
you
don't
have
have
different
the
numbers,
people
I'd
to
love
do
to
these
see them.
jobs.
But the reality is, some
And
of
then
these
you don't want
countries are
nobody
our
coming in the
friends,
country.
and some of these countries are our foes. And as Trump says, if you want to listen to what Trump says, in many cases, you know, many of our friends are a lot worse. He cited Australia won't even let us sell U.S. beef. So all these situations are actual numbers.
That's funny.
You know,
I just had an Australian tell me like they don't need our beef for something. So why would Australia, which we're doing better than financially, why would they buy our beef when they have a beef industry that they need to support? Why? Especially if ours costs more. It doesn't make sense. We trade to save money. Y'all like trade. Y'all like saving money. We trade with people. We import with people to save money. That's why. Why are they acting like this? This is some new this newfound idea that just why are we trading? Why are we importing from other countries? Maybe because it saves them money because we don't produce those things here, or it's cheaper to produce over there. Stronger the further north that you go. That is why we get it from Canada. See, I didn't even know that. Like if the lumber just so happened to be stronger, I didn't know that. Yeah, that too, PTJ. Like, I think it is a problem with, like, you see Gen Z complaining about, like, work and shit and, like, not making a lot of money. Like, I'm not a fan of raising the national minimum wage because every state can't support a minimum wage necessarily. Like, Illinois' minimum wage in fucking Wyoming or something like, or Nebraska, we can't have the same minimum wage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't work like that. I don't agree with raising the national minimum wage. And there's this expectation that every job, like paying they acting like you're always supposed to live off of whatever you make. And I just don't think that's necessarily the case, because if you're 16 and you got a job, you don't need to be able to live off what you make. It's just money to get in the, get some experience, get some connections and stuff so you could work later on in the future. I don't think every job has to support you to live in a one-bedroom apartment. I don't agree with that.
He talks about the golden rule. There's a similarity there. The golden age of America is what he's talking about, because this is a way
the golden rule and the golden age of get the fuck out.
Bring down our deficits, to reduce taxes. I would love to hear if you had a better idea.
Bring down our deficits. When you
these are trade deficits.
Okay.
It's like,
so
why is it just? Did you think because it's a deficit? This is crazy to me that I feel like this concept isn't even hard to understand. Simply because it's a deficit, it doesn't mean we're getting over on. We're helping each other. The deficit doesn't mean that they're getting over on us. What the fuck? And it's hilarious. Carrie Lake has MAGA with her fucking signature. That's weird.
Trade deficit with
Jesus Christ, your personal signature has to have MAGA associated with it, unless somebody trolled her and put it under there. I hope she didn't do that. That's fucking crazy. If y'all look at the top right, Carrie Lake signature, and then it says MAGA. I hope she didn't do that.
Canada of $200 billion a year. They charge us, in many cases, 200 to 300% for dairy.
You fucking idiot. You see what I'm talking about? This is not true. We don't get charged 300% on dairy. Does that even make sense to you? Do you really think that if we're sending dairy to Canada, that they're charging a 300% tariff? Do you really, does that really sounds like a thing to you? Why on earth would anybody do that? Because they're not. It is a surplus. It's to manage inventory so you don't just buy up a bunch of shit and ruin up their industry and prices and shit. And then nobody ever goes above it. It's that simple. Nobody goes above the numbers to manage inventory. That's it. Nobody's paying that fucking tariff.
Okay, Mexico is an example.
No, they do not. No, you're absolutely 100% wrong on the dairy. No. Your dairy thing is absolutely wrong.
You think this is my dairy thing?
Yes, this is not.
What Trump said in his speech.
Yes.
Trump said in his speech. This is exactly how these people think. Trump said it, so it's true. That is crazy to me.
Trump lied. There is not a single pint of milk
just like you lied
of dairy
about
that goes.
How many countries don't have people?
Dairy,
just because it wasn't on the list necessarily don't mean it don't. Because we just saw, like you said, Antarctica was one of the places in tourist locations he put tariffs on and shit like that.
Pretty sure India's got a couple of people.
That dairy goes to Canada. We don't. If we sell a certain threshold, tariffs are applied, but we don't reach that threshold ever. There are not a dollar.
Well, because it's too damn expensive to access the marketplace.
No, you idiot.
I'm talking about the sweeping tariffs. You're talking about being a milkman.
You brought it up, nigga.
I don't understand is why don't you
don't
think
care about any of the facts at all.
It's just a disregard for anything that's true. They don't care.
I want to understand is why don't you
don't
think
care about any of the facts at all? It's
Sam,
hilarious.
don't BS me.
No, it's hilarious.
I used to think like you.
Google dairy
Sam,
tariffs to Canada.
Fuck your dairy.
You
brought up dairy.
But you want to go. I'm giving one example. You want to have
because it's completely false. Yes, he's gonna harp on it because you said we're getting charged a 300% tariff on dairy to Canada. No, the fuck you're not. We're not. And he said we're not. And now you're saying fuck the dairy because you can't back up what you said and you're scared to pull that shit up. I hope the producer pulls it up.
The only example you gave.
Auto industries, they're charging us 25%. We're now doing a minimum tax 10% across the board. So
minimum, but in other places, Vietnam,
Let me
China.
ask a simple question. Though. The whole thing Adam just said, it could have been simplified. We have around
limit people that's already buying the shit. You're just gonna limit them to buy it from us, and then we're gonna be stuck with this shit looking stupid, and they're gonna have to probably sell it more because people are gonna not be selling their products as much, so they're gonna have to up the price on them. This is fucking
trade
ridiculous.
deficits. Would you like to fix that?
Part of the reason why
we have around $1 trillion of trade deficits. Would you like to fix that?
It's just like
part of the reason,
just like, oh, deficit, so we're getting screwed. This is insane.
Why we have those trade deficits is because we keep our dollar strong.
Yes, our dollar is
because
too
there
strong.
are bigger customer bases in this country than in other countries. Our economy is based upon
we're helping
consumption.
other countries' economy improve? Don't you think we have the leverage to ask more from them.
No!
I think
we don't have
again,
to.
I think tariffs work if there is a specific industry.
Yeah.
We saw this in the CHIPS Act,
Yeah.
right? There were carrots and there were sticks in the CHIPS Act. We want to onshore chip production in this country, both for economic
And what did
reasons.
he do? He did it through Congress.
But also like long-term national security
for
reasons.
example, for
and
me-
so what you do is you provide incentives and disincentives.
Have you ever negotiated a deal with anybody?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
You do. And are you a decent negotiator? Are you a bad negotiator? Are you a horrible negotiator? Where would you put yourself as a negotiator?
It depends on the context.
Okay. Do you try to find a way to negotiate where both sides win, like a fair negotiation?
Yes.
Okay. So this is Newsweek. It's a newspaper and outlet that's on the left. But Rob, if you can go all the way to the top, okay, this is a Newsweek outlet. So full list of countries of reciprocal tariffs. This is from today, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
April
Yesterday
3rd.
it was updated today. Okay. Go a little bit low, Rob, if you could. So let's just kind of go. Let's just start from the top and see what it says. So it talks about the Liberation Day. Great. Got it. Why it matters. Tariffs remain in place until U.S. narrows a 1.2 trade imbalance recorded last year. That means we're making others $1.2 trillion more than we're making. Okay,
If we
that's
have
the imbalance.
that's just a testament to us having the ability to withstand that. They're just acting like it just means, like, it just sounds like you want to bully everybody else. We're already the biggest game. We're already the biggest and baddest on the block. And then they want to punish everybody else even more. It don't make sense.
Balance. Okay, so this is Newsweek. The president said there was a
It means that we
baseline-
are buying more stuff from other places than they're buying
And it's
from
because
us.
we have buying power. The American dollar is the strongest. So we have the ability to buy more from other places and save money. It's just that simple.
Sure, yeah.
Because
that's a
we
deficit.
have the biggest consumer engine in the world.
Exactly.
So
And this, it's fucked up, PTJ. Like, literally, we want to buy a house next year. Like, the plan is to buy a fucking house this time next year. And God knows if that'll even be an option.
it would make sense.
But okay, so if that's the argument, continue. Now then the next thing would be, hey, charge me the same thing I'm buying from you as you're buying from me. Let's keep that number the same number. Don't overcharge me for it. That is not a tough request that we're making. Go a little
And
bit
then
lower.
it's saying overcharge when and then we're forgetting it's not the fucking country that, like, he's acting like America is paying for that. And it's I guess if you want to put it as the importer is part of America, but it's just petty because they're presenting it as if it's it's like the Fed that has to like it's the government that's hurting from that when it's just the businesses.
Oh, Rob, keep going.
A tiny house from Elon.
So the president's
Hell
based on tariffs
no.
of 10% of all imports. Okay, great.
Elon got shit
According
blowing
to
up.
chart, Trump held 34% on
I'm
Chinese
good.
imports, 20% on goods, European goods. All that'll come up when we go a little bit lower. That's the picture he's talking about. Keep going lower, Rob.
So it's ultimately going to be 54 plus another 10 on China.
Until we become reciprocal. Yes, the U.S. had an overall trade deficit of $918 in 2024, with the largest gaps coming from China,
It's just bullying.
$295,
It's
EU,
bullying.
$230.
Imagine you already taking the kids' lunch money. Like, you bullying somebody and you get $10 out them every day. And then it's like, you know what? Fuck this. I want 12.
Mexico 172, Vietnam 123.
Just
That's
for the fuck
numbers
of it.
that we have there.
They
Then
didn't do
Cambodia
nothing to
topped at
you.
a chart of
You just like,
49%
fuck it.
tariffs.
Just bring me
Followed by
to-
Madagascar, 47%, Sri
Oh,
Lanka,
God.
44%, Vietnam, 46%. If these were the two countries you said they don't have people there, I think they got people there. So if we go a little bit lower.
They keep doing that.
keep
They're
going,
not
keep going,
showing
keep
the
going. Here's
countries
a full
that
list
don't have people.
from Newsweek. China, tariffs charged to the U.S., 67%.
That's just not.
Us to them, 34%. EU, 39%.
This is the list that the
We're at
White House
20.
put out, and
I
all
understand. And
economists are
Newsweek-
looking at this and going, "What are they
Newsweek
talking about?"
Can fact check.
Yeah, they're not
this.
going to put out false
Newsweek
information.
can fact
Oh,
check.
Wait, did y'all hear that? They're not going to put out false information. What?
And going, "What are they?"
First of all, it looks like this is just a PDF of Trump's chart. It doesn't mean it's true. They just reposted his chart so you could look at it. Did y'all hear Vinny?
What are they talking
Newsweek
about?
Can fact check.
Yeah, they're not
this.
going to put out false
Newsweek
information.
can fact check
Okay.
this. If not,
Look.
that's
Why do they think that if the left could put out false information that the right can't.
Newsweek. You don't
The
believe in
president
fake
of the United
news.
States just held
you
up the
believe
thing.
in real news.
Right.
So
Right.
Taiwan, 64-32. Japan, 46-24. India, 52-26. Who the hell negotiate? Look at, by the way, each one of them is almost 2x. 26 times 2 is 52. 25 times 2 is 50. 36 times 2 is 72.
Okay.
31 times 2 is 62, but they did 61. 32 times 2 is 64. Malaysia, 24-47. Go a little bit lower, Rob. 49-97. 10-10 UK were the same. So South Africa, 30-60. Brazil, 10-10. Bangladesh, 37-74. 2x. If these numbers are true, Sam, let's say somebody on the left, okay, fact checks this, and this is someone that's a person you respect. If these numbers are accurate, what do you say then?
I'm going to read from CNBC since you guys won't Google this. Many observers said the U.S. appeared to have divided the trade deficit by imports from a given country to arrive at tariff
Can you
rates
text
for
it to him so we
individual
can show it so the audience
countries.
can see it?
I
What's
just
the title of it? He'll
Google
pull it up.
CNBC. How did the U.S.
He has
arrive
it.
at its
It's right
tariff
there.
figures?
Go for it. We're not uncomfortable showing clips. Just
Okay.
say it, he'll pull it up. So which part do you want him to read?
Well, scroll down right there. Just number 2. Many observers said the U.S. appeared to have divided the trade deficit by imports from a given country to arrive at tariff rates for individual countries.
Many observers, he read that fact. Many observers said the U.S. appeared to have divided the trade deficit by imports from a given country to arrive at tariff rates for individual. Yeah, so they just did some funky math to make it look bad. That's crazy. So he just took the deficit and just divided it by the, what did it say? By the import, he divided the trade deficit by imports from a country to arrive at a tariff rate. That doesn't make it a tariff rate. He just divided the number of the deficit by the imports total and then just said it's a deficit. I mean, he said it's a tariff. That doesn't make it a tariff. That's just the percentage rate of the difference of the imports and exports. That's not a tariff. Oh my God. The Chinese citizen has better purchasing power than the American citizen does now. And who wants that? They already was the second biggest economy. Now, if they're going to get a leg up on us, now what? We're going to be looking fucking stupid.
Methodology
Observers,
doesn't necessarily align with conventional approach to calculate tariffs. I mean, they've just made up what the tariffs were.
Wait, he said no? Hey, look at the shit. Oh, God, what are they going to say?
Approach to calculate tariffs. I mean, they've just made up what the tariffs were.
No.
Sam.
Okay, maybe they're
No, Trump said it. No, it's not possible. Trump said it.
We don't love Putin. We don't want our kids to die.
Oh, wow.
Methodology
Sam, but
is
let's do
different.
this.
And look at Sam just smirking. And how are y'all going to escape this? Yeah, Vinny, bite them nails.
Actual tariffs.
This is my question, though.
Google the tariffs.
I actually want to know this here. Rob, you can ask Grok to fact check it. You can go under Charlie Kirk and just type in Grok, is this accurate, these numbers? You can go to ChatGPT, that's ran by Sam Altman, who is an enemy of Musk, and see what that one says. You can fact check both of them. This is all I want to ask you to see what's your credibility with being able to reason. If those are correct, that they are charging us more taxes than we are, what do you think is the right thing to happen? If those numbers are correct.
I think we should look at what industries we want to build in this country. Car industry, let's say. Let's say we want to build solar panels, which is one that I would choose. Just as an example, we could go down the list, right? And I would also look at okay, what regions do we have in this country that need more jobs, more manufacturing? And then I would target tariffs, not necessarily on the whole country that's coming in, but I would target on those products coming from a given country, because that is what is called a plan.
Does it matter
as
what
opposed
the
to this
product
buckshot?
is? No,
Absolutely.
So you're willing to pay more you're willing to allow the other person to tax you more for a product you're buying than you're doing it to them?
Well, he said fact check it. I just went on ChatGPT. I said, I'll just show it to y'all so y'all know I ain't bullshitting. On April 2nd, I said Donald Trump imposed sweeping tariffs on April 2nd, 2025. Is the chart he showed accurate information in regards to the tariff percentages? However, it says, I guess, for example, he put all the numbers. However, economists have criticized the methodology behind the calculations. The formula divides the U.S. bilateral trade deficit by the partner countries' exports to the U.S., then halves the result with a minimum of 10%. Critics argue this approach oversimplifies complex trade relationships and may lead to unintended consequences such as harming smaller economies and igniting global trade tensions. Immediate reactions. In summary, while the tariff percentage presented chart align with the administration's announcements, the underlying calculation method has faced substantial criticism from economists. The potential economic impacts are still unfolding with both domestic and international markets reacted to the new trade policies. So I fact checked what you said, Pat. So what do y'all should do that.
Who needs who more?
They're not. They're not taxing me.
Hang on a second. The reciprocal tariff is simple. It's saying if you.
But he's presenting the information disingenuously. Stop saying that it's reciprocal because it's not. They made up and fudged numbers to lie to you and tell you that we're getting tariffed at a certain percent because of the difference of trade. That's not what a tariff is. It could be literally a 0%. It could be no tariff on a country, but with the way they use the numbers, you could present it as we're getting tariffed. Come on, bro.
You charge me an additional 30, let's match it. I'll do 30
That's not
as
what's
well.
happening.
The point is that when, let's say China has a 50% tariff on our cars.
Yes.
Okay. And they do that because they want to build their car industry. It is not going to create inflation in China because they have such a high tariff on our car. We may have, and certainly by we mean corporate America.
Politicians,
and maybe
not corporate America.
It's corporate America.
It's politicians.
Listen,
I
saw in the 90s like how corporate America was so freaked out by Tiananmen Square. But I'm telling you,
my question is, if that's accurate. If those numbers are accurate, that we're
I'm
being
not going
charged
to
more.
punish the American people with a regressive tax because you have some elementary school notion of fairness.
Elementary school. Here
Honestly.
we go. If those are true, okay, on them charging us more, would you
They're not
sit
charging
there and
us more. They're
support?
charging more for our products to get in there.
Do you think it's fair for us to pay twice as much as we're charging them? Do you think that's fair?
I don't think that fairness has anything to do with it. What's
you're
best
the
for
fair
the
fan. You're
American
the one that
person?
claims you're a fair guy.
What's best for the American public?
Okay, so let me
is
ask
the
another
I
question.
would ask.
Right,
Who needs
that's
more?
the real. That's very true. Like, why are they ignoring that? Is that fair? Is that fair? Well, at the expense of hurting us, is it fair? Probably. Like, now we're suffering. We're gonna suffer. Or you're causing a fucking global trade war. Like that. Neither one of them shits help America.
Does YouTube need you?
Part of America's greatness is the free trade. So for them to act like we could just do everything here and survive on our own is fucking ridiculous.
You need YouTube.
I probably need YouTube.
Why do you need YouTube more?
Because they have a lot of other people they can go to.
Oh, thank you. Who needs who more? America? Do you need the American customers or do we need Bangladesh? Who needs who more?
We better hope that a lot of these countries don't. I mean, Canada is starting to.
These people really want to be nationalists and they just can't say it. Like just say it like that so we can attack the real issue.
But an
They
argument
develop
here.
a different relationship with China. I mean, this is going to ruin a lot of.
It's going to bring jobs to America. This is why.
What? No. And Sam, why won't you tell them who's going to work these jobs? Stop saying it's going to be jobs.
Apple said, I'm investing $500 billion here. This is why UAE said $1.4 trillion. This is why Saudi said $600 billion. This is why all these companies said hundreds of billions. Why are they saying that? But why are they saying that, though? Why are they saying that?
I hope this goes well.
But why do you think? Why did Rolls-Royce say we're going to move our different plants that we have from Mexico, Canada, and China to U.S.? Why are they saying that? Why are they saying that? These are jobs for your American people that are not getting paid. Trump's trying to get those people jobs. Why don't you support it?
There may be some benefit in terms of like manufacturing, but overall, you're going to have a regressive tax on Americans.
If you
it's not targeted. When you target cars, I agree with you. Tariffs have a place, but there's no plan here. The idea of just blanket fairness doesn't mean anything because you're forcing Americans.
Dude, the guy's done more in the first 60 days than The last previous
No, the
four
fuck he
presidents,
hasn't.
not including
And I hope
Executive
the courts
orders?
The first
continue
2
to
years.
inhibit what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's
And-
yeah.
oh,
Great
that's-
job.
Sam,
That's
just,
where
let
you
me
go
just, we're
to.
just to build on what Pat was saying, Apple promising to invest $500 billion, SoftBank,
Because of the CHIPS
Oracle,
Act.
$500 billion, Nvidia, TSMC, the
Because of these
semiconductor,
tariffs?
$100 billion,
Because
$200
of
billion,
these
Meta,
tariffs?
$500 billion, Eli
Is it
Lilly,
because of the tariffs?
$27 billion, Johnson & Johnson,
I
D-Mex.
love how they're pretending like all these decisions got made overnight. Some of them, Trump did work a deal, but not all of them.
CMA, CGM, Stellantis, GM, Hyundai. The list goes on. All these companies
But to
are
him-
basically saying
to
we're going to
him-
bring back manufacturing jobs to America. Bringing back jobs will stimulate the economy. Isn't that good for
A
America?
part of why I respect Sam
like I
Cedar
say,
is the following. Let me
tariffs
tell you
in
why I respect Sam.
specific,
Do you know why I
industries
respect Sam?
Can be helpful. In
Here's what I
others,
respect Sam.
We're not going to get huge banana production
Okay.
in the United
So
States,
check
but
this
now
out.
your bananas are going to cost
So-
an extra 10,
It's
20%.
hundreds of billions of dollars.
But he's
I-
not
I'm
going to
listening.
give you
You're not
credit.
listening
He's
what I'm
not.
saying.
You don't understand.
Since
He
you're
just
not
said
listening to what
earlier,
I'm
I'm
saying.
not going to give my money to a private corporation.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He just told
No,
you
I
earlier.
said I'm not going to give it to Clear at the airport.
No, you said private
I have
corporation.
TSA pre. Why would I give it to the
We
private
can go
one?
back and play what you exactly said. This is recorded. So for me, to me, I'm already at a point that for I ask you, if it's the same, if those numbers are accurate, do you support it?
No.
I would go. Okay, so no matter what Trump does, you're not going
Right,
to
but
support.
No,
TJ,
I
that's
would
what's
support
crazy. That's what's
targeted
crazy.
tariffs.
If
that
trillions
are
of dollars are
meant
going to be invested
build
in the U.S.
specific
economy to create
industries or
jobs, you don't
regions.
support that.
What's that?
If trillions of dollars of money is going to be invested into our economy to create jobs, you don't support that.
No,
you
of
want
course
that
I
money
do.
to go to the 10 million illegal immigrants that came here that was open order under Biden. That's what you're saying. And by the way, the fact that you're open about it and you're honest about it, great.
Okay.
At least you're not playing games. At least you're saying that's who I am. I would much rather give my money to TSA because it's a government entity than Clear. It's private. I would much rather give my jobs to illegal immigrants than give the jobs to
Clear is
Americans.
also
That's-
like double the price. It is.
For
At least.
you get what you
That's
pay
now
for.
you're
right?
changing now the
I
argument.
mean,
to go to
I
Wait,
even had a
j-
problem,
alright.
to be honest with you, paying TSA pre.
Yeah.
Because it is sort of just creates two-tier system.
$65 for
built
5
on-
months.
Would you be
on government
comfortable
money,
if
but-
there was no Clear and no TSA pre-check and everyone just had to be exactly the same, just everyone TSA?
I mean,
Would you be comfortable with that?
comfortable in this. I mean, the way that it was.
There's
before.
no paying
She said
for
the way it
anything.
was
There's no
before, I was
Clear.
gonna say
I do think
clear.
it's
There's no TSA
unfair
pre-check.
to people who
Everyone
can't
just had-
afford to pay that they have to wait in line and that rich people get to fly through. I do struggle.
Did you
with
fly
that.
first class on the way here?
No.
Why do you
you
think
ever
he would
flown
fly
first class?
first class?
Back in my show business days.
What an
they-
elitist you are. Have
they
you ever
would-
flown
they-
private?
They would pay.
Have you ever flown private?
No.
But I
So everyone should be the
You
same.
probably drank
Everyone
free
should
beer.
just do
That's good, bro.
TSA. Everyone should fly economy. It's very unfair if some people
I think
are
we can-
doing better than
I
others.
think we can. I think
get
we
it
can
now.
agree
I get it now.
that it is a little unfair that money will get you through that line at the airport, which is like supposed to be mass communication. Yeah, I mean, mass transportation. Yeah, I do think.
wait,
it's a
the-
little
What?
unfair.
Do you only take the regular basic Uber?
Do I only take the
Basic Uber.
Lyft?
Lyft? Do you never use the black? You never use the SUV?
I did to come here.
What
but
an
that was you
elitist
guys.
you
That was the
Oh.
one you sent.
Oh, so you won't pay out of pocket,
we
but if
sent-
someone will pay for you.
But wait, there's one thing.
Oh,
But Sam,
dude, you're a straight up communist.
there's-
I love it.
Hold on, there's one thing that
Thank
you said that I
I respect the fact that you're here. You're just espousing socialist
wait.
communist ideas. Massive respect for you coming here.
Benny,
You can
go ahead.
embrace it.
Adam.
It's all
The,
good.
the
got
one
it.
thing
Go
that
for
kind
it.
of we just
Just
brushed
say that's who
over.
I am.
No, is
It's
you
fine.
saying that you hoped that these judges keep interfering with Trump's agenda, which is you're basically cheering for unelected bureaucrats to go against the will of the people. Like you're hearing yourself. That's not democracy. That's a power grab. So you're happy with all the judges and all the law firm and everything
those
going after
unelected
Trump.
bureaucrats.
Yeah, those unelected guys. You're cool with that? So if it happens to your
cool.
guy,
I am cool with judges appointed by Bush and Obama and Biden and Trump stopping the unelected bureaucrat Elon Musk from shutting down key functions of our government. Yes.
okay, our government has been broken for like what has anybody done to fix any of the problem? All the money
What?
going, all the everything. The fact
All
that
the
you're happy
everything?
with
What
them
are you
trying
saying?
to Sam, this is the will of the people. How many
The
70
will of the people doesn't mean you could just do what the fuck you want. Are you kidding me? So if the will of the people, so whatever Trump does, Cool. This is ridiculous. You don't want that on the other side. Y'all don't. If the president just got up there and was like, hey, everybody gotta put their pronouns on their ID. Hey, everybody must, whenever you introduce yourself, pronouns. Hey, if a boy wants to be a woman, you have to call him that, and then you go to jail if you don't. Hey, if anybody that wants hormone blockers, give it to him, no questions asked. If the president just got up and did that, you would not be okay with it. So shut the fuck up about this. This is what people voted for and the will of the people. You didn't vote for somebody to just run around and do whatever the fuck you want. That's not what people are voting for. I don't care what you say. This is insane to cape for somebody to this extent.
Some million people, you can laugh all you want, but you're happy with judges interfering.
We literally run the world here, and we're the most privileged, and they're screwing us over. What more do you want? What do you want? Y'all, you're not only are they in the richest country in the world, y'all are some of the richest people in the country. Y'all are richer than most average people, and y'all sitting up here complaining about other countries in a trade deficit. Give me a fucking break.
With what the president of the United States has been tasked to do.
Y'all want a king. Say, I don't want democracy. I want a king I can suck his dick when I feel like it. Because this is insane.
He has a mandate and he's kicking ass. And I feel, Sam,
I will quote from Elon Musk. This is a referendum on Trump. This is a referendum on Doge. This is a referendum on Musk. And 2 nights ago, he got clobbered in Wisconsin. And he was there on the ground in front of a big American flag, telling lies about Social Security and the American people in Wisconsin. Not all. 60% of the people in Wisconsin. This purple state,
you can't help but hate them because the arrogance of these people is just in the selfishness. I don't understand how mean spirited you could be to get to this point. Y'all are literally rich. Some of y'all are millionaires, and you're sitting here talking about Bangladesh getting over on America. What the fuck is this? What are we talking about?
Basically said, go home. Enough so that Trump has to leak that he's going to go. He's going to get rid of
what more
Musk
do you want?
and kick him out.
What do you want
I don't think he actually will.
I don't think
but
so.
he felt the sting enough that he realizes he has to do that because Doge and Musk, and I suggest Trump, very unpopular. I mean, obviously we're talking a margin, right? Because there's going to be 45% of people who are going to be in favor of whoever the Democrat is, and 45% who are going to be in favor of whoever the Republican is. But on the margins, yes, 6 months ago it was different, but today it's very different, I think.
But Sam, and here's the thing. Okay, so Trump is done after this, right? 4 years, he's gone.
You promise?
Well, he's going to be gone. He likes to troll all you guys, and you guys all lose your minds, and I get it.
I haven't.
But
really
what? Here's my thing. Again, and this is going back to the beginning. What are you guys offering? What is your side saying? Besides the
useless.
Trump evil Hitler, because that shit didn't work. Your side literally called him Hitler.
No Democratic politician has called him Hitler. The only person that called him Hitler is fucking JD Vance. Maybe they've made connections of things he said, which he said. He did say things that Hitler said, and people pointed it out. No leader in the Democratic Party has called him Hitler. Not one.
And the guy got shot in the freaking head. Okay, that's your party.
He didn't get shot in the head.
Now he's going to be gone. Okay? Who are you guys going to put up? Who is it? Because it looks like it's going to be Gavin Newsom. He's podcasts, all this shifting to the other side. You guys literally have nobody.
I would bet you any amount of money that it's not Gavin Newsom.
It's going to be the front runner for this upcoming.
I will bet you any amount of money that the nominee in 2028 will not be Gavin Newsom.
That nominee, or is he going to be running?
Guys,
is he the front runner?
Guys, place your bet.
Yeah, let's
$100.
$100?
That's all?
Let's do $500.
Oh, look at this.
Shook it for 100. Shook it for 100.
Don't be a pussy.
Adam, shut your freaking mouth. I bet you 500 all the freaking time.
Bet in the middle at 250 right now.
I still want to know who would you think?
Hold on.
In 2028, and let me finish. In 2028, Who is going? If right now, I know it's a while out.
Maybe we
who
don't
in
know
2028
right now.
is going to be the front runner for the Democratic Party. If it's not going to be Gavin Newsom, who that slithering snake is making the move to do it. Who is it going to be? I'm very curious.
I will bet you 1,000 it won't be Gavin Newsom, but you're stuck
No,
at
go ahead,
100.
go ahead.
But
Man, you're pretty
I
confident.
don't know. I think there's a chance that like if I had to guess, and this is not necessarily who I would support, and I'm gonna wait. I don't really, to be honest with you, I have spent zero time thinking about 2028. But if I had to guess, I would say somebody. No, it's absolutely true. I would say Pritzker, Whitmer.
Pritzker's possible.
Wow.
Pritzker.
Okay.
A billionaire.
You're comfortable with the fact that he's a
PTJ,
billionaire?
I wouldn't be mad at AOC, but if she's gonna run, she probably 32? Probably 2032. That's when it'd probably be a good time for her. If not, well, unless we get somebody in that could serve their full 8 years, hopefully that would be the case. But I don't think AOC wants to, but I would support her. I don't think she wants to.
No.
Pritzker.
Wow.
Pritzker.
Okay.
A billionaire.
You're comfortable with the fact that he's a billionaire?
No.
He
I say,
he said he didn't say he would support him.
I'm just guessing based upon like what I'm.
You think that's what she? I think she can't. Of course, she don't want to say it, but her. Of course, Jasmine's out there making noise too, but that's more her personality. I do think AOC is campaigning. I do think she's campaigning, but I'm just scared. I think the sexism is just still too prevalent for her. But if Trump do bad enough, we could run a hamster and they'll beat him.
Seeing out there, I think Buttigieg also not a fan. I think he's going to run. I think, like you say, Newsom's going to run. I would imagine there's going to be a couple of people in Congress who are going to run. I don't know if I could, even in a list of people that I would name, I would feel that confident that I would know who would win.
So if you
Well,
if you
that's
could,
right.
if you could
Stalin been dead for so long.
that's funny. If you could root for one person, just like I would like to see this person, who would it be?
He said it earlier.
Bernie.
AOC or Bernie?
Bernie
Oh,
He said it,
Bernie?
yeah.
Well, no, Bernie's too old. He's
So
not gonna run.
AOC?
No,
Is that
I
your
mean,
favorite
AOC,
candidate?
I don't think would win.
So who's your
for
person?
president.
If you could put your
I-
money
I
on one
honestly-
person,
That's my
Sounds
point.
like
They
he
don't
like AOC, but he don't think shit.
have anybody.
stop
That was
it,
my
Vinny.
point.
No,
they have nobody.
No, I don't speak for the
no,
Democratic Party.
exactly.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
I'm
'cause you guys
asking
don't have
Sam
anybody.
Cedar.
I
I'm not
wanna
asking the Democratic
see-
Party.
I wanna
You got to
see-
have someone in mind
I
that
want
you
to
would
see.
like
I
to
think
see.
Murphy's also going to run. I want to see what people like. Who shows up with what?
I'm not
They're all
even
deciding-
speculating. I'm asking who would you want to see? You.
No. But
You don't have anybody?
Yeah, you don't understand.
Really?
Yeah, I want to see who's going to.
You're a big podcaster. You don't have one person you'd
Oh
like to
my
see?
God, no,
to be
he doesn't.
president.
Yes.
It really depends, like on.
Just give me a name of
I
who you
don't
want.
Bro, he
have,
don't
like,
have
how do you not have a
one.
name?
Well, that was
What
my
the
point.
fuck?
They don't have anybody,
he doesn't
bro.
have
That's the
to
whole
have
point I was
one.
making.
I'm not asking them. I'm just saying.
Sorry that he wants to hear policies from people and isn't just like full-throated gonna support whoever the fuck y'all think is gonna be the front runner. Sorry that he really cares about policy, unlike y'all.
Sam Cedar, professional
Holy
podcaster,
shit.
progressive, democratic socialist. You don't have one person you'd like to see?
like to see as president?
Himself, I'd vote for Sam. That's it. We'll have Sam
I mean, I'm curious. I'd be curious, like, if I just don't know enough about like someone like Andy Bashar.
Okay,
but
but you know enough of who you like. Just say who you like.
Push back.
I don't. I don't have that kind of relationship with politicians.
You don't.
Right.
You don't know their names. You don't know their names.
Listen, I've had on the show.
Come on.
Why can't they comprehend this? This is telling. Y'all can't comprehend that he cares about what these people come out and say and want to do. He could say, yeah, I like Bernie policy, but I know he's not going to run. I like AOC's personality, but I don't think she'd win. So if he's not going to stake out who the fuck he think is going to beat, and that's just what it is.
Sam, bro, do better. Just say a name and we'll move on.
Jasmine
AOC?
Crockett.
No, I don't like her policies.
Who do you
frankly.
like?
I mean, Jim McGovern from Worcester, Mass.
There we go,
My
Jim
congressman,
McGovern. There we go.
former congressman.
Congratulations, Jim
I would say
McGovern.
Jim
That
McGovern.
wasn't.
I don't think
There's our boy.
There he is.
Future president of the United
Look at
States,
Jim.
Jimmy McGovern.
Let's go
Get
to the
it,
next
Jim.
story.
Making America great
Let's
again.
go to the next story. I'd like to do two more. I'd like to do two
He's
more.
a great,
stories.
actually,
these people are
congressman.
old,
No doubt.
bro.
No doubt. He's got a chance.
These people old.
Texas high school football star
You should
Austin-
also keep an eye on Pat Ryan. I mean, there's some stuff I disagree with him on policy, but he's also pretty good up in the 18th.
All right.
of,
Now
New
you
York.
know names. I love it.
Texas high school
He didn't
football
say
star
he didn't know
Austin Metcalf
names.
stabbed in the heart, left to die in twin brothers' arms at track meet. This is a very, very difficult story. This is the father. And Vinny, maybe you want to preface what happened with the story
Okay,
here.
so they allegedly they went to a track meet,
Yeah.
and I guess the guy in the bottom said something like, the guy in the top said, hey, you're in the wrong area. He stands up, stabs that kid on the top in the heart, and the other guy runs away, and then his twin brother, comes and holds him as he's taking his last breath, and he dies, and then this is the father, which is this is probably one of the most humble Christian, based freaking interviews. He's getting a little bit emotional, but listen what he says about the whole situation.
He died in his brother's arms. They were twins, identical twins. And his brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding. And he died in his brother's arms. And I rushed up there, and I saw him on the gurney. And I could tell. They said he wasn't breathing. I could see all the blood. I saw where the wound was.
Austin, his father shares, was born 2 minutes before his twin brother Hunter, the two inseparable, as you can imagine. Austin is being remembered as an outstanding student at Memorial High, his football team's MVP, and a young man of faith. His father grappling with loss and forgiveness.
I'm not trying to judge, but what kind of parents did this child have? What was he taught? He brought a knife to a track meet, and he murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart. The guy was in the wrong place.
Bro.
They asked him to move, and he bowed up. This is murder.
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know. I know they have someone in custody.
Yeah, we do.
And you know what? I already forgive this person.
Already?
Already. God takes care of things. God's going to take care of me. God's going to take care of my family.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Tom.
I think this is one of the most amazing testimonies I've seen in a long, long time. And I think there's two things here. And he's asking without condemnation, just the question I think we all should be asking. What was up with the parents? Is this a single parent household? What sort of guidance was there?
Yeah, it
what
does
sort
seem
of
like a weird
enablement?
story, but
are
some
we
people crazy?
Are we giving?
And where is the parents?
And
where's the parents? What he was on a school bus. Why do people act like kids can't do terrible things? And then it's I'm not saying the parents are never the reason, but
stand up and say, I forgive this. Most people won't understand. They say, I can't forgive him. I want him to go to prison. Well, maybe that's what you want now, and maybe that's what you're going to get, because there's consequences for crime. And if this young man, the one that's photographed there in the mugshot that's being circulated, if that's the guy and this is what he's done and the witnesses confirm it, then he's going to go to trial, and that's all going to shake out, and he's going to go to prison for a long, long time. And I think consequences are different.
TJ, it's racism, because it's what's the relevance of this? What's the relevance? Because it's a black kid that stabbed a white kid. If it was a black kid that stabbed a black kid, they wouldn't give a fuck. This is just, they think this is political points for them. Because this shit is fucking sad,
From
bro.
forgiveness. And the forgiveness this guy has in his heart, which appears to be led by Christian values, is tremendous. And what it means is, I'm not going to let eternal bitterness here hurt me. Is he going to hate what happened? Absolutely. And the loss he's got for his son, the grief has just begun. But he's also saying, I'm turning to the Lord to remove my bitterness so that I can go forward and live. And there's going to be consequences here on earth, this kid. There's two tragedies here. The tragedy is we have one young man, apparently, if this is the guy, who's going to go to prison for a long, long time. So he's going to be gone to his friends and family, just as this young man that was murdered is gone to his family. And the question is, what was the core of the belief structure and the life support and the examples and the mentoring and big brothers and people around?
You don't know anything, but you can't just assume what it was. If the boy is just fucking mental, if he's psychopathic, It's really not much anybody could have done. Like, what the fuck?
Guy, why do you bring a knife to an event? Because you have intent.
Maybe,
and you're going to
maybe not.
show people, and you're going to do things. This is all
Why do
well
people bring guns places? Do they have to have an intent? Shut the fuck up.
And
It's
and
just
the
all these
failures of
assumptions and
what
shit.
goes
It's just
on.
pissing me
And
off.
I have a lot of man, I just got so much respect for the father at this time of grief to be speaking this way. But I've also got it says you get what you want. You know, you get what you vote for, and you get what you want in this country. And if you want things that are going to help, you know, kids develop differently and better, let's get behind that. But there's a flaw somewhere in the heart of this kid that, number one, he's carrying a weapon that he intended to use, apparently, and he used it.
Sam,
and
what are your thoughts on that?
Let's go look at that.
You don't know if he intended?
I think it's. I mean, anything involving like children is difficult as a parent. That's always like difficult to see. And I think very admirable the father's response to it. It is sort of reminiscent of like what they call restorative justice, which I think
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is he talking about voting?
has application in some areas and in others, a little bit more difficult. But that's what you're talking about when you talk about like that type of forgiveness and making sure that the victims of the crime or the family of the victims can move on and live their life without being stuck in that moment, to the extent that you can. I can't even imagine losing a child or a sibling, frankly, but I think it's a little bit exploitive to assume that this is
like
such
the
this
weapons
is necessarily a political issue.
Nope.
I mean,
Exactly,
yes,
and they're trying
I
to
don't
make it a
think people
political
should be
issue.
carrying weapons in public. I don't know where this took place, what the gun laws are, or what. But yes, I am against people having weapons in public. I don't know why this guy brought the knife in his pocket when he left the house. I don't know what goes on at his house. I don't know
Right,
if
yeah,
the
they
guy
making
was
all
in
these
a-
assumptions. We don't know
was
shit.
on the other team, or I don't know any of the details about it.
We
so
don't
I
know
wouldn't,
shit.
make some type of like larger political statement that this has something to do with electoral politics.
Thank you. Like, y'all talking about this for what? I'm not saying it's not worthy to bring up, but like, y'all know that they have an ulterior motive bringing this shit up, and it's only because it was a black kid that did it.
We have a society that that
There's a
in
mental
many
health
ways
issues.
elevates violence, and and I think you could argue the violence that we pay for, in other countries, and get back pictures on your TikTok every day of what our weapons have done. Certainly, MLK said, every bomb that we drop in Vietnam blows up here. And the idea behind that was that, like, you cannot have a society that condones waging violence and not expect that violence to end up being self-inflicted. So,
Adam.
Well, it's a sad story. I mean, hurt people hurt people. I think it's entirely appropriate to speculate who raised this young man. You're 17 years old. You're bringing a knife to a track meet. Someone asks you to, hey, get out of the way in the wrong place, and you end up stabbing them in the heart. I mean, what's going on with this person? What type of emotional pain, what type of anger, what type of hurt was this person already dealing with, that this was how he enacted his revenge for being told to move at a track meet? Texas has the death penalty, if I'm correct. So I don't know what's going to happen with this kid. He's 17 years old. I'm sure he'll be tried as an adult, in my opinion. But my message is to one person and one person only. It's to the twin brother who's still alive, Hunter. And I can't even imagine what this guy is going through right now, because the father took the high road. Obviously,
That's
probably
why
a
I
man
said
of
I'm
faith,
like,
Christian.
he
and
could just be a psycho, and there's not much you can do as a parent about some shit like that.
I understand his perspective. The twin brother, who looks identical, I believe, I can't even imagine the hurt, the pain, the grief. Every time he looks in the mirror, he's going to see the brother that was killed and died in his arms. Oftentimes people say, hey, I'm praying for you, I'm praying for you. Genuinely, I think anyone that runs into this guy in his life, give this guy the biggest bear hug you possibly can and help this guy cope.
I'll be interested to see. Okay, I'm not gonna compare that. Never mind.
Was in New York because I had to go to a funeral for one of my closest friends' younger brothers. And they were incredibly tight. And to see the hurt in the family and the pain in the family and the hurt in my good friend's heart because he lost his brother was so tough to deal with. And all I could do was give him a hug and say, I'm there for him. So Hunter, the brother who's still alive, you're living for 2 now. My message to you would be like, honor your brother, live for him. And
I guess to be
make
fair,
the
he was
most out of
saying
his life 'cause you
identical
got 2
versus
people to represent
fraternal.
for him. So God bless.
Yeah, that was a very good take, Adam, on a story.
Yeah, Red Dragon. And the thing is, it feels like it's such, they're trying to be subtle, but they're not. Like, y'all really want this somber ass, this mood to be set like this, we all know it's really like a black kid did this. That's what they're saying.
Like this. You hear this, it breaks my heart as a parent. You don't have anything to say. And for the father to react that way, I mean, give me a break. Like, there's not more class to be shown than to handle that. I don't see the story everywhere. I don't see people talking about it. I don't see it.
Stop. It is. And this is the bullshit. I don't see the, yes, people, it's everywhere. And to be fair, it seems like it's mostly white people just trying to fucking make it seem like black men are crazy and violent. That's all y'all are doing.
Where it's being publicized.
I don't see it anywhere.
What word did you use? You said, I don't think it's a story for us to use as anything. What did you say?
He said as a political,
I don't think
political
there's political
discourse.
The question that a lot of people would ask is,
it's
what would have
fucking
happened
everywhere.
if this was the flip side?
Who would be covered? See?
The question that a lot of people would ask is, what would have happened if this was the flip side? Who would be covering it right now?
Oh, my God.
Everybody.
Where would it be right now? Where would the story be right now?
These
That's the
motherfuckers
divisiveness
are
of what
evil,
America's sick
bro.
of. That's the divisiveness. That father gave a message that's a unifying message.
Hey,
That
Tron,
father gave
send
a
me a
message
link to that.
That is a
Send me a link to that.
example to other fathers that you try to. You're like, oh my God, the standard. But to me, when we think about why America flipped in certain places and why maybe
The political. That's exactly what Sam said. I don't see why you're trying to make this political. You fucking assholes. Like,
mainstream media has been getting a black eye just as much as the Democratic Party, just as much as the U.S. government, just as much as CIA, just as much as FBI, is because the American people are just sick of it. They're fed up. They want to go back to living a normal life, and they want these divisive messages to slow down and find ways for us to sit down and have a conversation together. Sam, there's probably less than 10% of policies you and I would agree with. But the more and more I listen to you speak and say the things that you say and your approach to it, I sit there and I say, I can't understand this guy, why he believes what he does. But you know what I will say? Tremendous respect for you to come here. You came, you gave your arguments, did your thing, you leave. This is the second time we've done this. Not a lot of your peers do this often, and they all get invited. They all get invited, but they don't come.
I don't know that I have any peers.
No, what I mean is from people on the left
no
that
friends and
are.
peers, Sam?
You got 1.76 million subscribers. You put up 26,000 views. You are somebody that in your space you speak, and you have an audience that listens to you. They like to see your perspective. But a lot of people on the left, when we invite them, for whatever reason, they don't show up. And I got
It's a long
so
trip
much
for me. It's just a
respect.
straight shot down
I got
from New York.
respect for a
They're
guy
all in
to
New
come
York.
in, sit down, have the conversation, and everybody that's watching this, whether you agree with him or not, you have to respect that he came here. Because that, to me, is a very, very high level of respect of anybody that's willing to have the conversation. If you do that, we need more of that, and let the American people decide and say, I don't agree with Pat. I think Pat is wrong here. I don't agree with Sam. I think I agree with that. I think I agree. No problem. You get to decide, and we get to have the conversation. But
Let me at least return the compliment to you because I, according to Tim Pool, was blacklisted by all the right-wing shows 2 years ago when you had me on, and I think I think it was my opportunity to say like I can be well behaved sitting here, and we can get into arguments and whatnot. You were the only show that would do it. Now Tim has since sort of oddly reversed, and I was on his show in November, but after I think he sat right here and said that I was a grifter. But be that as may, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fancy car that took me here and the hotel.
Next time we'll just do regular Uber X and put you in economy, Sam.
Feel free.
This is
Sam,
true.
it was a 2-minute ride.
I can't assume how these people feel, but yeah, they were calling them kids.
Publicly, please come back again, would you?
A
year from now, whatever.
What do you mean? Even in 4 years with the bet, it's
whatever.
$100.
Exactly.
$100.
We'll let
I'll
you
come
know
back for
if
that
you-
$100. We should charge interest on it.
So tomorrow we have Terrence Howard. That's podcast is going to go up. Very interesting
Terrence
conversation.
Howard.
I brought a guy that was a 17-year. He's currently with NASA. Like he had to give a disclaimer and say, my opinions today are not the opinions of NASA.
Oh, wow.
So we brought a physicist that works at NASA to sit down while we had Terrence here. Have had a lot of different conversations. Play this intro. This will go out tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Go ahead, Rob.
So after I'm done here today, I'm going to put online the equations necessary to have unlimited energy, just to say you to the world.
Interesting. Okay, so if you don't know this, you guys have never met, and you're currently working for NASA.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I don't have the degrees he has, and guess what? He doesn't. have.
How much you want to bet they're gonna sit here and let Terrence feel like he cooking too? That's what's crazy.
He doesn't have an understanding of how the universe works.
You don't think Eric Weinstein
He has no understanding.
Entire quantum mechanics built on this model.
Is wrong.
Where he's bring another dimension. Okay.
Y'all gonna sit here and act like he really said
It's an end of America.
What have you found?
If I have to go to China, they won't hesitate a moment to use lynchpin, which they're forcing me to do. Do you know that they took away my passport?
Why does this matter?
Puffy invited me.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
He's like, I think he's trying to you. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh. If it's wrong, you'll never hear from me again.
Shit.
I'll walk away. But if I'm right,
Let me tell you.
So you guys talking about everything.
It was so entertaining. By the way, here's the crazy part. Guys, you know what I'm talking about.
Here's
guys,
the crazy part.
Huh? Yeah, by the way, it's very interesting because he was on Rogan, the first one. It was very interesting.
Yeah, of course.
And then they do the one with Eric Weinstein, the 4-hour, which I thought was fascinating to watch the exchange. But for whatever reason, the gentleman, Dr. Yu from NASA, didn't fully disagree with some of the things he was talking about, which was very weird for me, and had never met. So he didn't find him. We didn't tell him that he was going to be here until he came here. The first time he met Dr. Yu was 2 minutes before we went live.
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah,
I don't know
anyway,
if he's acting
by the way, here's the
because
crazy
he
part.
does know information, like he knows math and shit like that, but it's just a bunch of nonsense, esoteric terms that people don't understand that he keeps using.
Terrence Howard's on Manect. I said, Terrence, all these people that ask me stuff, I'm not doing it no more. I want them to ask you. So if anybody wants to ask any questions of Terrence Howard, download the app Manect. Rob, you have the QR code?
We have the lower third right now. Ryan.
Okay, so it's in the lower third. If you see it, just go. You can send him a Manect, and whatever questions, thoughts, and stuff that you have, he's officially on Manect. You can ask him questions.
Man.
All right, Sam Cedar's YouTube channel is going to be also below in the description. If you want to give it a sub and follow his content, we're going to put that there as well. God bless everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Sam cooked y'all. He dropped the ball a few times, but Sam cooked they ass. Anytime they had to confront some real shit, they couldn't even fucking do it. I can't, these people are insane. They just gonna still go home and believe what they want. We'll do the reciprocal tariffs. Isn't it fair? If they're gonna charge us, we charge them. At what cost, bro? At us having to pay for this shit. This is fucking insane, bro. Fucking retarded ass white men all up here. Just saying nonsense. You got this big ass following and everybody listening to y'all and thinking y'all know what y'all be talking about because y'all got a couple dollars and then you want to act like you know politics. Somebody that actually knows politics get up there and try to tell y'all some shit and y'all like, why did Trump said it? What are you disagreeing for? Trump, you think they're just gonna lie? Yes, that's exactly what they've been doing. He's been doing it for 12 years. I don't understand how you don't know that now. Like, they don't have to pay for it because they have money. Yeah, and it's like y'all are shielded from having to deal with the ramifications of all the bullshit that you spewing. Like y'all, they don't give a fuck about what anybody got to deal with outside of them. Like y'all just saying shit and you're feeding people that already agree with you to make more money, and they put themselves in a position that they can't move away off of what they believe. That's the problem. Yeah, bro, because once you get out of the I don't know if they call it the work, I think it's like working middle, then upper class or whatever. But because once you're trying to transition from lower class and you're on welfare or whatever, you got food stamps or whatever your situation is, you got subsidized housing, you kind of do have that cushion that you fairly need. People that don't make a lot of money kind of need that shit. They need it. So they're getting that cushion. Once you're trying to transition and make some better money, now you got all these bills that you never had before, and it's hard to make that transition. So, yeah, the middle class is just getting fucked left and right. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't want to make more money because the more money you make, the more money they take. Till when where you're making money that anybody could live comfortably off of as long as you're being responsible. And these fuckers don't care. Literally, Kamala ran on helping the middle class and made that her platform, and nobody gave a fuck. They said, inflation is Joe Biden's fault, and acting like he didn't have to deal with fucking COVID and the after effects. He's the president, so it's his fault. Like, bro, can y'all fucking learn something, please? God damn. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna have to get up out of here, man. May have some content up later today. But if you made it to this point in the stream, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. Appreciate any and everybody that came through. And I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Peace.